Run it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a good day. We're about to begin Philo. A very interesting day. You had the positive comments from Powell yesterday. He pretty much watches the watch list, was our conclusion. But then people are like, no, transitory worries. My reasoning was the Swiss National Bank. I think you had a lot of Swiss and other central bank actions today, and I think that got in the way of currencies and gave you the little gap down, but then we melted right back up, and now we are dancing around as we await Donald Trump and potentially more policy, albeit Trump has been kind of quiet the last couple weeks. So like we talked about on the watch list yesterday, uncertainty is dropping. Volatility is still high. We kind of got to work our way out of this. We're not out of the woods just yet. Again, look at the bond moves. Even they're about to go red right now, which is wild, but I think you get the idea. So we'll see where it takes us. I think it's a great time for Philo right now because we're probably just going to slow work down to the breaking levels, or we kind of keep bouncing from where we are at right now. So that being said, we will begin Philo here in a little bit. I got to set everything up. So let me give you something to play. We'll give Mike Mulvaney. This was the guy you were hearing before. He's the former chief of staff.
Later, too, and you're seeing what's happening when you talk about the midterms in some of these town halls.
Yeah.
And, what is your reaction for these Republicans that do actually go out there, though, and they listen to it? And now you're seeing it on the Democratic side as well.
And they should go out. I can't remember when the word came down to some of the Republican members that maybe you cancel your town hall meetings. Mm-hmm. I had really sort of dramatic flashbacks from 2009 when I was running for Congress against the then sitting budget chairman.
Obamacare summer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Democrat leadership told the Democrats the same thing. And one of the reasons I'm sitting here today is because the Democrats were afraid to do town halls. Okay? I think it's terrible advice. Go out, take your lumps. Yes, we know that there's Democrat activists in the crowd. Everybody knows it, okay? Go out. If you're in a purple district, you have to do it anyway. If you're in a red district, what difference does it make? Go out and take the lumps. There's a really bad precedent that we should be following.
NVIDIA says it'll open quantum research lab in Boston.
Looks like that's exactly what they're doing, is ducking and covering. Although I saw Mike Flood.
Hey, yo, check
of these
quantum.
Members are still going out there. Do you do a teletown hall?
God bless them. Yeah, by the way, that's a great question, and it is a great compromise because that takes the performance theater out of it.
Interesting.
I talked to Don Bacon from Nebraska, and he said, I'm doing all teletown halls meeting. Number one, I can talk to more people that way. It's easier for people to get to me because they can do it from their house. Mm-hmm. And I take away the showmanship. I don't have to deal with the people who are there to sort of put on a show for their own left-leaning social media page, and that's smart.
Honestly, those popped and dropped off of that. It might continue.
But local news can still follow.
But yeah, NVIDIA quantum
news.
news.
Still make news,
exactly.
But you don't maybe have the grandstanding, to your point. Mick Mulvaney with us in studio.
Qubits.
It's always a great pleasure. Former acting White House chief of staff, of course. Former OMB director.
That was the one the other day.
Co-founder of the Freedom Caucus. Gentleman and a
What'd
scholar.
you just call me?
It's always good to be here.
Don't be a stranger. With Julie Fine, I'm Joe
Julie,
Matthew.
it's nice
I'm
to see
glad that
you.
you're with us here on the fastest show in politics. This is Balance of Power. We'll have a lot more straight ahead as we assemble our panel
bitch,
next
I'm quicker.
on Bloomberg TV and radio.
Alrighty. So. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Philo. So like I said, man, I don't know, man. I know I'm a weird person. I can sound really aggressive sometimes, all of it. But I appreciate you guys being here, for real, man. It means a lot. I believe the words that I read, bro. And, Proverbs always says, a brother is born in a time of need. And you'll meet people who will stick closer than brothers, And that's why I appreciate y'all who have been with me on this journey, and those of you who have advanced with me, and those of you who have grown with me, and are really, taking the most out of it, bro. So I think it's a beautiful thing because I don't even think I need to explain some of this stuff to you, but I do hope that some of you listening are understanding. And why we're here right now for Philo, it's very simple. I want to talk about life. I want to talk about God. I want to talk about a lot of things. I want to talk about reality, and not everybody could handle it, and that's okay. Maybe one day they will, but it's very simple here. Beyond what I want and what I desire, we are here right now for a reason, and the reason is the stock market. And I could read a book, and I could read the news, I could read the chat, and I could have many eyes in many places. So God is good. I'm grateful for that ability. What does that mean? It's very simple. We should all be doing what we want to do right now. So if you want to be here, you have gone through many barriers to be here. That means you have willfully decided that you want to be here. So if you want to be here right now, get whatever you want out of it. If you want to hear about God, if you want to hear about Philo and life, lock in and be involved. If you think it's nonsense, I'm not here to punish you for that. That's not my job. But I don't want it to distract me or anybody else. So very simple. If you don't like it, that's cool, man. Just talk about stocks, focus on the stock market. If you find anything interesting, if something's happening, I will stop what I'm doing and help you with it. I care about the market as well. So I believe that the way we've been doing it lately, it's really, really conducive for workflow. So let's keep it up. You don't want to do Philo? That's fine. You better be doing a lot of stocks right now then. You better be focused on that and vice versa. So if we could do that, everybody gets what they want, and I think it'll be a good time. So that being said, we're going to start another book. It's actually chapter 2 of another one that I already read you. But before, I got to give you the intro. I had a little intro for yesterday. Then it was Powell. I forgot. But I smell bad, too. I think I forgot to put deodorant on. But that being said, I have an intro, and then I have a crash out for you. I'm going to crash out. I was just telling the Twitch, is it still crashing out if I'm happy and, like, excited? Because I view crash out as just being brutally honest with people and explaining stuff. Because, like I said, a lot of things I've talked about, I'm okay being right. I'm okay being wrong with things. But at the end of the day, I don't know. My tolerance for nonsense has gone out the window. And that's why I'm saying, have an opinion. Let's have a good talk. Let's do it. But I'm not going to fake shit. I can't deal with it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Blatant misrepresentation, blatant dishonesty. I'm not going to tolerate it. And it's either you're doing it on purpose or you're unaware of it. And either way, I hope my crash out will correct it. But that being said, before I crash out, I want to tell you the verse from yesterday. It was Revelations, and I was just reading it in the morning, and I thought this was a really good intro. So if you have the daily Bible app, you should go. Yesterday's verse was Revelation 3. And, you know, people read Revelation, they're like, the world ending. But I don't know. I always try to see, you know, what I never saw in it when I read it again, you know. And that verse came up. And he was writing a letter to the churches. And he described 3 churches. And quite frankly, in my mind, I feel like he described 3 types of people. So go read Revelations 3, and you'll see the churches that he is talking about. But quite frankly, I think there is 3 types of people in this life. Is there more? Sure. But this is one addressed in the Revelations. 1, there are the people that act alive but are really dead. I've seen that. You know why? I see people all the time. They smile at me, and then they do other very dark things in private. I see people all about this when I'm looking at them and I talk to them long term. In private, nothing in their life reflects it. I've told you these stories. I've told you. I've known Chads even. I thought this whole time they had a long term. They didn't. Again, I've met people who were all about the environment, but they weren't. They were all about helping people, but they really weren't. My brother, do you understand how detrimental this is? I would rather you be almost any type of person but this. That's what I'm saying, man. A lot of my attitude that you have seen, bro, I will do I don't care. I would rather be a bad person than be this. You know that. I don't think I'm a nice person. Thanks to G.K. Chesterton. God bless him, bro. Niceness isn't from, like, if I'm nice, it's because God is blessing me. Naturally, I'm a terrible person. That's fine. You know why? Because I would rather know and believe that than thinking I'm a good person, but really I'm dead. Y'all don't feel me. So whatever it is in your life, whatever it is you identify with, whatever it is you want, be about it. I've said this in many ways before, but from Revelations alone, do not be the church that acts alive but is really dead. Oh, terrible. Spy going lower. You know the point. 5-7. We give Felo till then. Just tell me when it hits. 5-7, 5-6, 5-2. You let me know. I'll keep it up. Low key. So that's one. Yeah, people can change. Why do you think I'm telling you this? Amen, brother. Amen. That's why we have Felo every day, bro. Believe me. Any type of thing. I don't believe you stuck, dude. But I've seen some people be my biggest haters, and we are good friends now. I believe everybody could. That's why I believe in what I do, bro. For real. That's why I say be reborn. You could take it personally. But no, I feel you, bro. Amen. You are never, none of you in here are ever required to be like what you are right now. You know what I'm saying? And whatever negativity you think you have, like, it's not attached to you. I promise you. But that's it. But you have to have a will. That's what I teach, man. That's what I believe in. You need to have a will. You need to want it. You need to say, I want to do this. That's why I don't like trying to tell me what to do. And not like tell me what to do, like, you can't do this, you can't do that. But, like, you know what it is when people try to manipulate you. You know what I'm saying? You know when people trying to get their will. And that's where I'm saying, no, I want you to have your own. Because that's where the answers come from. That's why God put us here, bro. I want you on your own to love God. I want you on your own to want it. Don't you think it's better when I on my own want to help rather than doing it out of something fake? You know what I'm saying? And then, bro, you're dumping a little more. We're getting there. Okay, hold on. Load up. So pause that thought. I still have 2 more things to tell you. Actually, no. Fuck. The premiums they're not down yet. Fuck me. Look. It's barely cheaper. So no. Let it hit and then let it burn a little bit. I was going to instant buy it, but nah. It should have been lower. I'm looking for tomorrow. I'm not looking at a daily. Interesting. You're up 100. Good work, baby. I wonder where the VIX is at. Yeah, I don't like that premium. You're right at my level, but we might have to wait a little bit. I'm shocked. I thought the premium would be lower. Should have been. No, I'm talking about, I am talking about SPY calls. But they're not good. Because I like this level. Like I'm telling you, we're either going to bounce off this for the rest of the day, or we're going to flush it, and then we get really ugly. But I'm going to try a call at 52, and then if it didn't work, I'm sure we'll be able to find a later stage put, or you just buy fucking TLT at that point. So we have options, but I don't want to like force it. That's why I haven't really traded today. I hit my other plays, but I'm not. Yeah, we don't need to force it. Give me a good deal, I'll take it. But that, unfortunately, I thought it would be. Maybe futures, if you want to play it on the dollar for dollar, it might work, but that option's not there. Well, that being said, you guys could all change, man. I like that, and I'm grateful for that comment. You know? But like I said, man, your will has to be natural. And like really you, bro, once you guys do, it unlocks a beautiful side of you. You know, you got to come to terms with the good and bad of who you are. But when you do things that you really want to do, I'm telling you, it unlocks so many beautiful parts of life that some people get frustrated because they haven't seen it yet. And it makes sense. I'd be frustrated too. I have gotten frustrated by not following my own will and getting tossed and turned by the wind of other people. Y'all don't feel me. So the first type of person you should watch out. Don't be the one who acts alive but is really dead. The second type of person, and I love this, the weak people. There is people in this life who are weak, who have struggled, who have had less, I can't explain why you have gone through certain things. I can't. There's people who have dealt with some real serious stuff and have dealt with very serious weakness, whether a result of their actions or by birth. Yet they still persevere. You see, this isn't all negative. You think we're here to just talk about the negative. No. It's a bad thing to act alive and be really dead. You don't want that. But there is a special honor, bro. And if you could relate to any of them here, bro, I relate to this one. The weak persevering. Brother, my family is immigrants. What we had to learn, I shouldn't be where I am. Even right now, you think I'm beefing with any of you? My biggest op is a fucking multi-billion-dollar news organization. I'm a one person. I don't care if we have the odds in our favor or not. We will always keep going. So, amen. Do you understand that? I need all of you to have this embedded in your soul. You should be this than not, my brother, because this is what we believe in. This is the faith that I believe in. This is my God. He is a God for the weak. That's why I can't be proud. You may think I am, but you should really listen. I don't view myself higher than anybody. That's what I'm saying in all of this stuff. I would rather be a wicked, evil person than parading around that I'm better than that when I'm not. Your strength comes in your weaknesses. Don't ever forget that. But the ones who don't have but persevere, my brother, the kingdom is yours. And then finally, the other type of person, we've been talking about this, lukewarm. He gave a warning to the lukewarm church. He said, you guys aren't hot. You're not cold. You're not succeeding. You're not failing. What are you doing? Think about it. I hate lukewarm. I get it now, bro. I get it now. Thank you, C.S. Lewis. I get it now, bro. I've said this so many times, you guys. I'm grateful because I know one day it's going to click for you the way it clicked for me. Yeah, dude, it's only forwards or backwards. Anybody trying to get you in the middle is the devil. That's why the lukewarm gets spit out. God is so good, bro. The way this earth is made, in success or failure, it's a circle. You get what I'm saying? You succeed enough, you'll succeed into failure until you find God. You'll succeed enough, you'll find God, and it goes in a circle. You fail enough, you'll fail so bad, you'll find more about yourself than anything. You fail so bad, it'll change your ways for the rest of your life. You'll fail so bad, you will become a new person. But do you get it? If you don't fail, you'll never go anywhere. If you don't succeed, you'll never. Pete Hegseth canceling Pentagon HR software. Yo, that's a good headline. I would watch Palantir. Watch the other one last time, too. Who else was it? Somebody else moved on that. But yeah, man, the lukewarm church. Don't be lukewarm, man. That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm not here to, succeed or fail. Go, bro. Fail. That's okay. That's why I would rather you learn through the failure than being in this weird, like you're defending against forward and backwards. Some of you are defending against failure so much. You're so scared of it. It's holding you back. And then even on success, you're defending against it. You don't even want to, you're keeping your current worldview and you don't want to expand it because you're scared of, no. You got fear. You're scared of failure. You're scared of success. What? But this is life, bro. I get it now. All these people, the media, you name it, bro, the books, it's all there promoting uneasiness. Go ahead, call me a cuckoo nut job, but I don't like that. I don't like uneasiness. I see the danger. I don't want to see the youth confused. I don't want to see older people confused. That's a shame. You know that? This is a weird generation where even our older people are getting confused. Y'all don't feel me, bro. It's weird. Back in the day, we used to look at the past as wisdom. Lee buyout. Oh, shit. Halted. Oh, no. Resumed. Ah! My bad. You should have told me on the wire. See, that way, while I philo, you guys could have the wire, and you could help me if I miss anything. But yeah, man. Sad. But I get it. And I'm not mad at anybody. I just see what's happening. That's what I'm saying, bro. Anything trying to promote in your life an uneasiness of not pushing you forward or trying to not let you see failure and twisting the truth to guard your emotions. Fuck that, dude. I really hope you feel me. Why? Because in success or failure, you're gonna learn more about yourself. You will advance, even in failure. The only thing that doesn't get you anywhere is lukewarm. This uneasiness. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. I know what this was last week I knew, but this week I changed it. That's not going to work. That's what gets everybody. You could spend your whole life in the middle, dude. And I don't ever want any of you to do that. I don't want you to spend your whole life in the Chad in the middle. You know what that means? That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm about to crash out. What do you mean? You're going to watch me for 5 years. You're going to walk away with something. You know why? Because in 5 years, I have failed extremely and I have succeeded extremely. What are you telling me right now? So in the process of forward or backwards, you chose to do nothing. No, dude. You will never. That's not it. Any real Chad, you are fail. Succeed. No lukewarm. Very simple. And I don't say this as like a weird toxic trait. I say this as like discovery. You don't find anything in the middle. You don't learn anything in the middle. No one likes the middle. Even stats hates the middle of the curve. It's the dummies. So come on, baby. So that being said, before I read the book to you guys, I will share with you my crash out. Because I shared it with you in the past, and it happens. It's funny. I have this happen once every 2 weeks to once a month, depending on what propaganda gets placed and depending on when the person who didn't want to get involved chooses to selectively listen to me. But I even said it with the Felo stuff. You guys, I would rather be evil and a hypocrite than say I am this or that and not do it. I would rather be evil and a hypocrite and go off of my own will that I believe aligns better and is more truthful about God than listening to somebody else's will. I don't like it. And I told you, whether it was Philo, whether it's the plays, whatever, you name it, I encounter hundreds of people trying to push my will in one area or the other. And there's two ways that they do it. And I'm just here to crash out and tell you this is nonsense. And I'm not going to stand for it. You could keep trying it, but I'm telling you, shame on you. You know why? Number one, I said it earlier today. I don't ever tell you guys, hey, buy a value stock, and then I don't end the sentence with finger to the sky. I don't try to get you to be respectful in the chat and say finger to the sky. I don't try to get you to do fucking anything and then try to stamp Jesus on it. How dare you? How dare you know the word and misuse it that blatantly? How dare you? My Lord would call you a den of vipers. That's what he would say. You vipers. So quick. Jumping on a piece of life. Trying to control your will. Do you get it? Because this is what I'm saying, bro. You may like what I'm doing. You may not like it. You may not like this and that. But every time you try to get me to do something and then you try to use a justification of the Bible, I've dealt with that my whole life. How do you think I got to where I am right now? Where I told you from day one, I stopped listening to all those people who told me to read the Bible. And one day I read it myself. And that day I realized that they never read it. You have probably heard me say that a lot. Every day, bro, that I have ever told you, finger to this sky, to God be the glory, through the grace of God alone. I've never done that to sell you anything. I've never done that after a statement. I've never done it after trying to alter your words, your behavior, or anything. I have only let those words come out of my mouth as literally pure worship to my God. How dare you? How dare you fake Chads claiming you want to get people and you want to get other Chads? No, I taught everybody here to think for themselves. From day one is what I stand on. You don't have to agree with me, brother. Ask any real mother effer who disagrees with me. You're not going to walk around trying to corner people into your will and trying to use their beliefs against them. I don't stand for that. My finger to the sky is to worship my God. I believe in it, and I have to worship him because I am so inferior. I am such a wicked human, bro. And I know it. I don't think I'm a nice person. I really don't. If I'm ever nice, it's because God blessed me with niceness that day. If I was ever generous, it's because God provided the generosity. Do you understand? I'm not playing this game where I don't look in the mirror and see a diamond. If a diamond ever came out, it's because God gave that diamond, not me. I know what I am by factory default. I get it. It's always that. But that's why I'm saying enough of this game. Enough of judging and putting people and trying to use God. I God to worship. That's what I believe in. I don't believe I follow the laws all the time. I'm on my journey. I know what is objectively right and wrong. That's why if I don't live up to it, I'm not here trying to dance around it and say this is okay. It's not. I'm not trying to justify any behavior. But I'm also not trying to force your behavior, and I'm definitely not putting Jesus' stamp on it. Done with this. And that's what I'm saying for all of you. Don't try to bend people's will And my brother, for all of you, you defend yourself against people trying to bend your will. All God wants is you and him. Do you understand? Y'all don't feel me. You think God cares about anything else? That he made it all, bro. You think God cares about your social media following? You think God cares about what? No, God cares about you and him alone. It's a very intimate relationship. Don't ever forget that. That's what matters. Are you in there with God? Don't use it as a worldly thing to try to make things happen. God loves when your will is attracted to him naturally. When you could do whatever you want, but you choose to do that. That's all God wants, bro. You align your will with his, watch what happens. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying stop trying to change people's will. Stop focusing on that. You need to focus on your will and living out what you really want and aligning with whatever you really believe. Oh, I hope y'all feel me, man. Nah, it's facts, though. That's what I'm saying. Once again, I don't know if it's one day I charge for Felo, one day I do this, one day I make a bunch of people money on this, one day I do that, one day I make a tweet, and there's always somebody, and then somebody pop out trying to use my Jesus. My brother, no. And shame on you. It's okay, I forgive you, I don't really care, but I'm just saying, nah. But even then, for my guys out there, y'all need to watch out. I don't care if you do it. All you know my reaction. But I'm telling all of you, man, the real practical lesson is your will. And you need to start really living out your will. And you need to stop trying to change other people's will. That's not your job. You want to care about will and what other people are doing. Meanwhile, God is knocking on the door just trying to get your will to align with his. But you would rather go to your neighbor than go to your father. It makes no sense. Why? That's what I'm saying. And anybody ever comes to you in the name of the Father, that you tell them to go back to him. Because if my father will contact me, he will. Amen. But yeah, man, that's not it. So that was the first one. And then the second one. This has nothing to do with Felo. But God is good. I'm very grateful. You know? And like I said, a couple years ago, I've dealt with people. I would deal with these scenarios. And I hope you see my growth. I hope you see me living it out. Because I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I've always had these thoughts. But they would be like, oh, you're biased, you're this, you're that. Oh, Josh, you're wrong. And people would misrepresent me very, very grossly, right? And instead of standing on business, I would respond with a fake humbleness. I would try to be nice. And I call it fake because I don't think I was really... Because I knew what I felt and I knew what it was. But I was like, you know what? God wants me to be humble. Do you see the mistake I made? I didn't care about really humble or not. I was caring more about the virtue and getting pride in a virtue rather than actually doing it. Do you get what I'm saying? Go ahead, call it what you want, but that's how I viewed myself. And you've got to watch me for years. That's how it was. I don't think I was really being humble. It sounded humble. But in my heart, I feel like I think I got tricked into aiming for the virtue rather than genuinely aligning with it. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think that gave me pride. I think I got a fake pride or a real pride off of fake virtue. Oh, I'm keeping it so real with you. Oh, I don't know if y'all can handle this. Oh, man. Yeah, it was my screw tape demon. It really was. Because I'm a nice guy in certain times and in certain areas. But, like, you guys know my instinctual reaction. I hear bullshit. I crack a joke in half a second. You know? I would deal with people, and instead of correcting them in a very straightforward manner, I chose a very performative humility. Yes, I did. I think I did. You tell me. But that's why I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think that's what God wanted. I think God would have been more pleased with a more honest humility because he really knows me, rather than trying to live something out just because of the sake of, I'm like, yeah, that's a virtuous thing. That's good. And that's not bad sometimes. But deep down, it wasn't really what I was doing. It wasn't my will. So that being said, this time around, unfortunately, I learned. And I don't like to brag, and I don't want to. I feel like the Middle Eastern in me loves shiny things and loves the flamboyancy. That's why I buy nice cars and dumb shit. But I've grown. But when it's all said and done, I'm not playing this game anymore. So, very simple. If you think that my political bias or my anger or whatever, insert the blank, has gotten in the way of my decision making, you have to prove to me or show me that you have made better decisions than me. That's all. I'm not trying to be unhumble, but it reminds me of Daniel and the story of Daniel, where they tried to force him to eat a diet and it went against his beliefs, and he just said, listen, let me do what I want, and if I perform worse than any of those people, I'll submit to what you're doing then. Fine. But if you let me follow mine and I do better than everybody, then that's it. So that's what I'm saying. And I need you to understand this, because if I played some fake humility, I think you're going to get trapped in this mindset forever. Am I crashing out right now explaining this so that you feel bad? No. I want you to wake up to the reality so that you can get on the horse and get what you deserve. Not living in a fake reality. Why? Because you live in a false reality. If you are looking at the man who has tried to help you, 90% of the time has never had any sort of paywall, has offered you things, given you a plan, given you all of this info. You've seen my decisions from real estate, houses, to stocks and outperformance. And you want to tell me my decisions are being influenced. Okay. Did you make better decisions then? Show me. Otherwise, where did you go wrong in this logic, where you are now viewing the one thing that can help you as an enemy? Meanwhile, the same line of logic you believe, think about the politics. They probably stopped you from buying a house. Did you buy a house? Did you get the house at the right times? Did you stop buying at the right time? Were you buying the value when you were supposed to? All of these things. I truly believe if I was politically biased, I wouldn't have done it. That's what I'm saying. You believe so emotionally about me, but why? When the evidence doesn't match up. The evidence matches up that I'm here trying to help you. The evidence matches up that I made good decisions. Small good decisions over 5 years. That's what it says. So I'm not following. In reality, if you go look at your decisions, I could almost guarantee that same politics you accuse me of has already affected your decisions. Otherwise, show me the action then. But this is it. Perplexity in talks for funding at $18 billion valuation. Why am I saying all of this now? It's part of the philo, man. You know why? Because what works, bro. What's true, tried, and tested works. You're not new to this. I'm not new to you. Cut the crap. You've had 5 years of this shit. Go look at your decisions. That'll tell you everything. Be a man. Be a woman. Figure it out. Do you understand? You need to look at what the evidence of what is tried and true will either be there or it's not. That's it. That's why I'm saying, why are we playing these games in so many aspects of life? Trying to paint the different colors and find these when there is real answers and real stuff that works and there is stuff that have not. You judge a fruit by its tree. And that's what I'm telling you. So call me whatever you want, but I want to see the fruit. Show me the fruit, I'll tell you the tree. That's all I need. You need to start looking at the fruit that has came off of your tree. And before telling your neighbor about their tree, I need you to ask yourself, if this is what came out of my tree, what did I plant? And did I plant it because I wanted to, or did somebody influence me? It's sad, no. That's why I said it's a crash out, but I'm very happy. You have no idea. That's why I'm just saying in a weird way. I just know people don't like it, and I don't like it. I don't like pride. I don't like people who brag. I hate it, right? So I don't want to be the guy saying, look at me, look at this. But I'm just saying, I'm like, wait a minute, man. I talk a lot about politics. That's a fact. But to say my decisions have been negatively influenced when I have just skirted every motherfucker, dodging and weaving to walk away with what I have, I can't follow. I'm sorry. That's wrong. You don't get what I've gotten if you were politically biased. That's just the reality of it. You don't buy China 100% lower if you're so politically biased. Let's be real. Go ahead, look at all of the names. You don't make money under Biden and Trump. Why? How did I outperform both then? It doesn't make sense. Do you see what I'm saying? So I hate pride. I'm not trying to be the look at me guy. Again, the real estate. I was trying to save some of y'all and make sure you didn't get left behind. Every big YouTuber lied. Everybody lied. That's what I'm saying. And it was Biden at the time. And I still was trying to get people into a good deal for houses. And some people did. They became millionaires. But like I'm saying, did you do that? And I'm not trying to beat down the people who didn't do it, but I'm saying to the many people who want to say, oh, you're this, you're that, I can't trust what you say. My brother, why? You shouldn't trust yourself looking at the decisions you've made. That's who I wouldn't trust. I think you're getting politically biased. You're not buying a house. Now you don't want to buy the house. Then you don't want the stock. Then you only want the stock when it's up. Then they tricked you into buying EVs and this, all of it. And I've stayed the same. I say cap, bullshit, scam, bullshit. I don't like it. Go ahead. I don't care. That's why I'm saying the real important thing, don't be fooled into thinking that the thing that is not changing and shifting is shifting when it's not. Don't think that the fixed object is moving because you keep moving. That's it. So, I'm grateful for it. And I hope all of you take this as it should. And that's why I say I'm proud of some of y'all. And like I'm saying, you know, when it's all said and done, that's how I'm going to look at you. I'm going to judge you off of the fruit. And that's how life is, bro. You know that? Real fucking life. You tell your parents, tell your girl, everybody, I'm doing this stock. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Bro, there's going to be a time where there's going to be fruit or not. Do you understand? Life isn't all about it. That's hell if it's only all about results. But make no mistake, a lesson of nature, you could judge a tree by its fruit. So that being said, welcome to Philo. Crash out of the way. We are jumping back to capitalism. And that's why I'm saying all of these, man, you know, I hope you judge all the fruit good, because these things, these topics we talk about, bro, if you could recognize a good seed in truth, it's going to help you. So I'm glad, and I hope we could get the most out of this. But now we are in chapter 2 of G.K. Chesterton, The Outline of Sanity. So you'll see the main topic that he's going over, but this is all about distributism. So he's talking about the problems of capitalism, the problems of socialism. The problem with capitalism, he says it leads to a small group of people controlling broadly everything. It leads to greed. It leads to not valuing human life to a degree. And it is true. You take it to a further enough stage, capitalism starts to turn into that. I've seen it firsthand. Vice versa, the alternative that usually gets promoted to capitalism, it just says, okay, if the pickpocketer is going to judge himself and think that his pickpocketing is enterprising, the socialist would just say ban pockets. It's the same thing. Power ends up in the control of few people. I hope you understand. I don't like both of those. Do you understand? This is key, bro. This is what I believe in. I believe in the people, bro. You know that? I'm a sicko. But guess what? Some of you have given me more hope. Some of you hoes have taken away that hope. But for real, I believe in that. I do agree. That's why I do what I do. That's why I think there's enough room for all of us. I hope you get it. I don't like power being controlled and concentrated in the hands of a few rich people. I don't like that. I think that's wrong. I don't think that power and control should be concentrated in a group of just random politicians. I think that's wrong. So extremes of socialism and capitalism, I don't agree with that. So the answer is this whole community distributism peasant life, really. You guys know that. That's why he said peasantry. This is literally the life of a peasant. It has a negative connotation, but back in the day, all a peasant was somebody who lived and worked in their own community. That's all it was. Peasants owned houses, but they just weren't going into the city and trading with. They had their own. It was a peasantry lifestyle. That's why they say, "Oh, it'll never work. It's too small." But it worked already. It's just not as popular anymore. Did that Palantir come down? I chilled after that. So, chapter 2, G.K. Chesterton, The Outline of Sanity. The peril of the hour. When we are for a moment satisfied or satiated with reading the latest news of the loftiest social circles or the most exact records of the most responsible courts of justice, we naturally turn to the serial story in the newspaper called Poisoned by Her Mother, or The Mystery of the Crimson Wedding Ring, in search of something calmer and more quietly convincing, more restful, more domestic, and more like real life. But as we turn over the pages, in passing from the incredible fact to the comparatively credible fiction, we are very likely to encounter a particular phrase on the general subject of social degeneracy. It is one of a number of phrases that seem to be kept in solid blocks in the printing offices of newspapers. Like most of these solid statements, it's a soothing character. It's the headline of Hopes of a Settlement, by which we learn that things are unsettled, or the topic of a revival of trade, which is part of the journalistic trade periodically to revive. The sentence to which I refer to this effect, that the fears about social degeneracy need not disturb us because such fears have been expressed in every age. And there are always romantic and retrospective persons, poets, and such riffraff who look back to imaginary good old times. Oh. I like that because it sounds like today. Hopes of a Settlement, revival of trade. This book was written over 100 years ago. But he's saying this idea of social degeneracy and the way that we look at it and the way that we treat it is very, very interesting. We kind of act like, well, it's always been around, and yeah, there's a romantic view of these always the good old times. And that whatever's happening now, we're kind of, well, don't worry, it's because, well, yeah, because there was a better time to go back to. It is the mark of such statements that they seem to satisfy the mind. In other words, it is the mark of such thought that they stop us from thinking. The man who has thus praised progress does not think it necessary to progress further. The man who has dismissed a complaint as being old does not himself think it necessary to say anything new. He is content to repeat this apology for existing things and seems unable to offer any more thoughts on the subject. Now, as a matter of fact, there are a number of further thoughts that might be suggested by the subject. Of course, it's quite true that this notion of the decline of a state has been suggested in many periods by many persons, some of them, unfortunately, poets. Thus, for instance, Byron, notoriously so moody and melodramatic, had somehow or other got into his head that the Isles of Greece were less glorious in arts and arms than the last days of the Turkish rule, than the days in the Battle of Salamis or the Republic of Plato. So again, Wordsworth, in an equally sentimental fashion, seems to insinuate that the Republic of Venice was not quite so powerful when Napoleon trotted out like a dying ember as when its commerce and art filled the seas with a world of conflagration of color. So many writers in the 18th and 19th centuries have even gone so far to suggest that modern Spain played a less predominant part than Spain in the days of the discovery of America or the victory of Lepanto. Some, even more lacking in that optimism which is the soul of commerce, have made an equally perverse comparison between earlier and later conditions of the commercial aristocracy of Holland. Some have even maintained that Tyre and Sidon are not quite so fashionable as they used to be, and somebody once said something about the ruins of Carthage. Do you get it? I know there's a lot of examples. You may not understand them, but it's very simple. This idea of thinking Like, oh, this is not as good as it was back then. It's romantic, but do you not get what he's really saying? You've dealt with this. How many of you think 5 years ago was better than today? How many of you think your job industry, you hear the people at work say 10, 20 years ago, it was way better than this? No? How many of you would have thought that real estate was the golden era 5 years ago? Not today. Well, there you go, brother. You deal with this even to today. You deal with it on the media. You deal with it everywhere you look. You can't escape this nowadays, I would argue. It's impossible. You have too much news, document, and people do forget stuff, but it's a very, very pervasive idea of the good old days. But don't forget, pin duo, bro. Whoa, we already got to play. Those are up 150 now. But yeah, that's running. That just printed fat. European leaders will discuss meeting for that. Trump gives 30-day extension to end Manhattan congestion pricing. So you guys get the whole good old days romanticism. Great. But make no mistake. This all has to do with your thinking. And that's what he's warning you against. He's saying the problem is that this pervasive idea of the good old days and how people kind of make it seem like, you know, things weren't as great now or then. It's like it's a really weird contradiction that we do with everything, no matter how powerful or weak they are. But he's saying, think about it. The man who praises progress does not think it necessary to progress further. The man who dismissed the complaint as old does not think it's necessary to say anything new. That's the whole point of this. That if you fall for this trap, it will change how you think and change how you make your next step. Wow. In somewhat simpler language, we may say that all this argument has a very big and obvious hole in it. When man says people were as pessimistic as you are in societies which were not declining but were even advancing, it's permissible to reply, yes, and people were probably as optimistic as you in societies that really declined. For after all, there were societies which really declined. It is true that Horace said that every generation seemed to be worse than the last, and implied that Rome was going to the dogs. At the very moment when all the external world was being brought under the eagles, but it's quite unlikely that the last forgotten court poet praising the last forgotten Augustulius at the stiff court of the Byzantine contradicted all the seditious rumors of social decline, exactly as our newspapers do by saying, after all, Horace said the same thing. And it's also possible that Horace was right, that it was in his time that the turn was taken which led from Horatius on the bridge to Herculeus in the palace. That if Rome was not immediately going to the dogs were coming to Rome, and their distant howling could be first heard in that hour of the uplifted eagles. That had begun a long in advance, that also was a long decline, but ended in the dark ages, and Rome had gone back to the wolf. So what he's saying to the people who are like, well, yeah, people were just as pessimistic in societies that were declining or advancing, right? That was literally, people were pessimistic as you are in societies that weren't declining but even advancing. Even now, it could be the best day ever, the best environment, best society. You'll have somebody tell you it's declining. But like he's saying, be careful of the good old days, but think about it. There have been societies that declined. AKA, there was people who were optimistic as the plane was going down. So you have a plane going up and there's people saying it's going to crash. And be careful of that view. But also, too, be careful of the plane going down thinking that it's not. I say this view is at least tenable, though it does not really represent my own. But it's quite sufficiently reasonable to refuse to be dismissed with the cheap cheerfulness of the current maxim. There has been and there can be such a thing as social decline. And the only question is, at any given moment, whether Byzantium had declined or whether Britain is declining. In other words, we must judge any such cases of alleged degeneracy on its own merits. It is no answer to say what is, of course, perfectly true, that some people are naturally prone to such pessimism. We are not judging them, but the situation which they judge or misjudged. We may say that schoolboys have always disliked having to go to school, but there is such a thing as a bad school. We may say that farmers always grumble at the weather, but there is such a thing as a bad harvest. And we have to consider as a question of the facts of the case and not the feelings of the farmer whether the moral world or modern England is likely to have a bad harvest. Whoo! I love it. I hope this molds your thinking. Because, my brother, how many times in the stock market are you going to deal with this? The stock's going up, they tell you it's going down. The stock's going down, they tell you it's going up. There are societies that have failed and succeeded. What's the answer? You have to take it on its own merits. There's no such thing as the past means this, or, it's old, we don't have to progress, or we don't have to do this. No. Everything is mutually exclusive. Judge it on your own merits. On its own merits. I love that example. Because it's true. When you were in elementary school, you hated school, right? I did. It's a fair thing to say that most school children hate school, right? Kids don't like going to school. But there is such a thing as a bad school. So just because kids don't like going to school, it doesn't mean that the school is good or bad. But there can be a bad school. Again, farmers don't like the weather, but there is objectively good and bad weather. Fire. Now, the reasons for regarding the present problem of Europe, and especially of England, as most menacing and tragic, are entirely objective reasons and have nothing to do with this alleged mood of melancholy reaction. The present system, whether we call it capitalism or anything else, especially as it exists in industrial countries, has already become a danger and is rapidly becoming a death trap. The evil is evident in the plainest private experience and in the coldest economic science. To take the practical test first, it is not merely alleged by the enemies of the system, but avowed by the defenders of it. In the labor disputes of our time, it's not employees but the employers who declare that business is bad. The successful businessman is not pleading success. He is pleading bankruptcy. The case for capitalism is the case against capitalism. For a case for capitalist is the case against capitalism. What is even more extraordinary is that its exponent has to fall back on the rhetoric of socialism. He merely says that miners or railwaymen must go on working in the interest of the public. It will be noted that the capitalists now never use the argument of private property. They confine themselves entirely to this sort of sentimental version of general societal responsibility. It's amusing to read the capitalists press on socialists who sentimentally plead for people who are failures. It's now the chief argument of almost every capitalist in every strike that he is himself on the brink of failure. Interesting. Do you get it? I don't forget. Do you remember what this philo, what we started with? Private property. This is where I told you all in your hearts you need to own property. You need to believe, and you need to set it as a goal. Because this is how we'll change the world. This is how we slow the decline. Any capitalist promoting capitalism without prioritizing private property is a fake capitalist. They're real. You know why? Because then they're just relying on socialism. What do you mean you're a capitalist telling me to go work for the better good of society? That's socialist bullshit. Yes or no? That's why he's saying, ironically, these capitalists get in trouble. They don't plead success, they plead bankruptcy. Why is the employer telling you business is bad and not the employee? And that's why if things got bad, the capitalists would tell you, you need to get to work. It's for the good of society. All the while never mentioning private property. So again, this is why he's leading into his argument of why communities owning property is the answer. Private property is the answer to all of this. You defeat the evils of capitalism and the evils of socialism by a fair distribution of private property. Doesn't mean you give it away, but it means private property ownership. Coming back down. Did we hit my level or no? We didn't. Oh, no, we did. Yeah, we hit 52.79. But, yeah, like I told you, the premiums didn't go down, so I didn't take it. But, yeah, see if we go down. You still got time. It might get a little uglier. I have one simple objection to this simple argument in the papers about strikes in the socialist peril. My objection is that their argument leads straight to socialism. In itself, it cannot possibly lead to anything else. If workmen are to go on working because they are servants of the public, there cannot be any deduction except that they ought to be servants of the public authority. If the government ought to act in the interest of the public and there is no more to be said, then obviously the government ought to take over the whole business, and there is nothing else to be done. I do not think the matter is so simple as this, but they do. I do not think this argument for socialism is conclusive. But according to the anti-socialists, the argument for socialism is quite conclusive. The public alone is to be considered, and the government can do anything it likes so as long as it considers the public. Presumably, it could disregard the liberty of employees, force them to work, possibly in chains. Presumably, also, it could disregard the property of the employers, pay the proletariat for them, if necessary, out of the trouser pockets. All these consequences follow from the highly Bolshevist doctrine bawled at us every morning in the capitalist press that this is all they have to say, and if only a thing is going to be said, then the other thing is the only thing to be done. This is the same book of the Don't Be a Prostitute by Not Owning Private Property. It's the same book. In the last paragraph, it's noted that if we were left to logic of the lead writers on the socialist peril, they could only lead us straight to socialism. And as some of us most heartily and vigorously refuse to be led to socialism, we have long adopted the harder alternative called trying to think things out. Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Dude, G.K. Chesterton is so savage. So if you think some of my trolls on Twitter are my highlighting the ludicrous nature of things, you should hear some of his clapbacks. He said you should try this thing called thinking things out. And we shall certainly land in socialism or in something worse, called socialism, or else in mere chaos and ruin, if we make no effort to see the situation as a whole apart from our immediate irritations. Now, the capitalist system, good or bad, right or wrong, rests upon two ideas. The rich will always be rich enough to hire the poor, and the poor will always be poor enough to want to be hired. But it also presumes that each side is bargaining with the other, and that neither is thinking primarily of the public. The owner of an omnibus does not run it for the good of mankind, despite the universal fraternity blazoned in the Latin name of the vehicle. He runs it to make a profit for himself, and the poorer man consents to drive it in order to get wages for himself. Let's see, we're going down a little bit more. Ooh. Next time, if the call doesn't go cheap, maybe we should look at the puts. They're coming down, but it's not a lot. It's down 30. But it should be a lot lower. Yeah, it's at my level, but like I'm saying, that premium hangover is real. The calls aren't cheap. Yeah, 41 then 37 I think will be the next ones, but I'm going to just look at the premium there. Let that be the judge. He runs it to make a profit, and the poor man consents to drive it in order to get wages for himself. Similarly, the omnibus conductor is not filled with an abstract altruistic desire for the nice conduct of a crowded omnibus instead of a clouded cane. He does not want to conduct omnibuses because conduct is 3/4 of life. He is bargaining for the biggest wage he can get. Now, the case for capitalism was that through this private bargain, the public did really get served. And so for some time it did. But the only original case for capitalism collapses entirely if we have to ask either party to go on the good of the public. If capitalism cannot pay what will tempt men to work, capitalism is on capitalist principles simply bankrupt. If a tea merchant cannot pay clerks and cannot import tea without clerks, then his business is bust and there is an end of it. Nobody in the old capitalist condition said clerks were bound to work for less so that a poor old lady might get a cup of tea. Okay, going down a little more. So it really is the capitalist press that proves on capitalist principles that capitalism has come to an end. If it had not, it would not be necessary for them to make the social and sentimental appeals they do make. It would not be necessary for them to appeal for the intervention of the government like socialists. It would not have been necessary for them to plead discomfort of passengers like sentimentalists or altruists. The truth is that everybody has now abandoned the argument on which the whole old capitalism was based. The argument that if men were left to bargain individually, the public would benefit automatically. We have to find a new basis of some kind, and the ordinary conservatives are falling back on the communist basis without knowing it. Now, I respectfully decline to fall back on communist basis, but I am sure it is perfectly impossible to continue to fall back on the old capitalist basis. Those who try to do it tie themselves in quite impossible knots. The most practical and pressing affairs of an hour exhibit the contradiction day after day. Okay, you're flushing right now. State Department will deny Mexico's non-treaty request for special delivery channel of Colorado River water to be delivered to Tijuana. Okay, you broke level 1. You got one more level, 37, and then 32, but then it might get more flushier, but everything's already flip red. But it's a bigger gap, so TLT might be in play now. Okay. Oh, my two spy charts are... one of my spy charts is moving faster. Okay, I'm shooting. I did two. I did a spy call for tomorrow, and then I did a TLT for next week, the 28th call. I hope you see why. They could both go down, but I'm going to take the bet that if we flush further and I lose on the calls, I'm going to hope TLT goes up. But I'm gambling, so be careful. I'm closer to the money on the call. You can do it out of the money, but I think it's really just going to be either timing or not. But, yeah. Well, let's see. All right. Oh, yeah, we got to do something with earnings, too. Okay. The most powerful and practical affairs of the hour exhibit the contradiction. For instance, when some great strike or lockout takes place in a big business like that of the mines, we're always assured that no great saving could be achieved by cutting out private profits, because those private profits are now negligible, and the trade in question is now greatly enriching the few. Whatever be the value of this particular argument, it obviously entirely destroys the general argument. The general argument for capitalism or individualism is that men will not adventure unless there are considerable prizes in the lottery. It is what is familiar in all socialistic debates as the argument of the incentive of gain. But if there's no gain, there is certainly no incentive. If royalty owners and shareholders only get a little insecure or doubtful profit out of profiteering, it seems as if they might as well fall to the lowly estate of soldiers and servants of society. I've never understood, by the way, why Tory debaters are so very anxious to prove against socialism that state servants must be incompetent and inert. Surely it might be left to others to point out the lethargy of Nelson or the dual routine of Gordon. But this collapse of industrial individualism, which is not only a collapse, but a contradiction, since it has to contradict all of its communist maxims, is not only an accident of our condition, though it is most marked in our country. Anybody who could think it in theories, those highly practical things, will see that sooner or later the paralysis in the system is inevitable. Capitalism is a contradiction. It is even a contradiction in terms. It takes a long time to box the compass and still longer time to see what it has done so, but the wheel has come full circle now. Capital is contradictory as soon as it is complete. because it is dealing with the mass of men in two opposite ways at once. When most men are wage earners, it is more and more difficult for most men to be customers. Listen to this part. This one's huge. I think this is where I understand it. This is where I've lived both sides, and I get it. It's crazy. That's why I'm saying I believe in distributism. At the very minimum, private property. Listen to this. This is the major contradiction. It is dealing with the mass of men in two opposite ways at once. When most men are wage earners, it is more and more difficult for most men to be customers. For the capitalist is always trying to cut down what his servant demands, and in doing so is cutting down what his customer can spend. As soon as his business is in any difficulties, as at present in the coal business, he tries to reduce what he has to spend on wages, and in doing so, reduces what others have to spend on coal. He is wanting the same man to be rich and poor at the same time. The contradiction in capitalism does not appear in the earlier stages because there's still populations not reduced to the common proletarian condition. But as soon as the wealthy as a whole are employing the wage earners as a whole, the contradiction stares them in the face like an ironic doom and judgment. Employers and employee are simplified and solidified to the relation of the Robinson Crusoe and Man Friday. Robinson Crusoe may say he has the two problems, the supply of cheap labor and the prospect of trade with the natives. But as he's dealing with the two different ways with the same man, he will get into a muddle. Robinson Crusoe may possibly force Friday to work for nothing but his bare keep, the white man possessing all the weapons. As in the Geddes parallel, he may economize with an axe, but he cannot cut Friday's salary to nothing and then expect Friday to give him gold and silver and pearls in return for rum and rifles. Now, in proportion as capitalism covers the whole earth, links up large populations, and is ruled by centralized system, the nearer and nearer approaches this resemblance to the only lonely figures on the remote island. If the trade with the natives is really going down so as to necessitate the wages in the natives also going down, we can only say that the case is rather more tragic if the excuse is true than it is false. We can only say that Crusoe is now indeed alone and that Friday is unquestionably unlucky. Wow. Yeah, bro. It's a wild concept. Honestly, this is why I have not liked selling you guys shit. It makes a lot of sense. This is why over the years you have asked me about when am I releasing new merch. And I tell you, don't worry, you should save your money. For real. That's why stream alerts, until people started bitching and being very weird with me, I gave you guys everything because I said, why would you spend money on what you could get? I understood this contradiction, but I never really understood it. I have just been a consumer and a business owner at the same time. I have been poor and I have been rich. I get this contradiction. How can I tell you to save money and then be a customer at the same time? It doesn't make any sense. But unfortunately, if you take capitalism to its end, that's what it is. Sadly. That's all it is. It is. The only way we could build, even here, we need fair exchange. That's what he's going to get into. He's going to get into it. We need fair exchange and private property. We have to work together. You give me, I give you in local communities. But it's a crazy concept. It's a crazy concept. But this is where I'm like, damn, I see it. It is. Although I like capitalism, I like private property more, but I do think this is contradicting. How can I tell you to save money and be a customer at the same time? If I operate purely capitalistic, the economy slows down, I cut your wages, You work for me, but guess what? You're still a customer. That lowers your demand. It doesn't, it's very contradicting. The problem is that real capitalism, take it to its end, we are just trying to get people to be a customer and a producer at the same time, and it doesn't make sense. That's why he said once you go through this, once you let the capitalist wheel come full circle, you will realize that capitalism does have a lot of untangable knots in it. And that's why people attack it, but what do? They attack it, and then they promote to you an even worse alternative. And that's why both capitalism, socialism, if you haven't realized it or not, until we have real private property and liberty, both of those systems just promote whatever current monopoly of power is in place. So the capitalists will still, the fake capitalism will continue to rule. Or if they flip it to socialism, it'll just be a group of Bolshevist government people controlling everything. Until we have real liberty through the ownership of private property. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So, that's what he's saying. That one, I wanted you to get that. I don't know how much left we have. Well, we got a little bit. I think it's very important that people should understand that there's a principle at work behind the industrial troubles of England in our time, and that whoever be right or wrong in any particular quarrel is not no particular person or party who is responsible for our commercial experiment being faced with failure. It is a vicious circle into which wage-earning society will finally sink when it begins to lose profits and lower wages. Literally, wage price spiral. It literally is exactly what he's talking about. And I don't even know if he was familiar with it at his time. I think he was ahead of his time. And through some industrial countries are still rich enough to remain ignorant of the strain, it is only because their progress is incomplete. When they reach the goal, they will find the riddle. In our own country, which concerns most of us, we are already falling into that vicious circle of sinking wages and decreasing demand. And as I'm going to suggest here, in a however sketchy manner, the line of escape from this slowly closing snare, and because I know some of the things that are commonly said about such suggestions, I have a reason for reminding the reader of all these things at this stage. Safe. Of course it's not safe. It's a beggarly chance to cheat the gallows. Such was the intemperate exclamation of Captain Wicks in the Romance of Stevenson. And the same romancer has put a somewhat similar piece of candor into the mouth of Alan Breck Stewart. But mind you, it's no small thing. Yea, man, lie bare and hard, and ye shall sleep with your hand upon your weapons. Man, ye shall taggle many a weary foot, or we get clear. I tell ye at the start, for it is life that I ken well. But if ye ask with another chance you have, I answer none. And I myself am sometimes tempted to talk in this abrupt manner. After listening, U.S. and Israel to hold high-level talks on Iran nuclear program next week. And I myself am sometimes tempted to talk in this manner. After listening to long and thoughtful disquisitions throwing doubt on the detailed perfection of the distributist state as compared with the rich happiness and final repose that crowns the present capitalist and industrial state, people ask us how we should deal with the unskilled labor at the docks and what we have to offer to replace the radiant popularity of Lord Devonport and the permanent industrial peace of the Port of London. Those who ask us what shall we do with the docks seldom seem to ask themselves what the docks will do with themselves if our commerce steadily declines like that of so many commercial cities in the past. Other people ask how we should deal with the workmen holding shares in a business that might go bankrupt. It never occurs to them to answer their own question. In a capitalist state in which businesses after business is going bankrupt, We have got to deal with the smallest and most remote possibilities of our more simple and static society, while they do not deal with the biggest and most blatant facts about their own complex and collapsing one. They are inquisitive about details of our scheme and wish to arrange beforehand a science of casualty for all the exceptions, but they dare not look at their own systems in the face where ruin has become the rule. Other people wish to know whether a machine would be permitted to exist in this or that position in our utopia, as an exhibit in a museum, or a toy in the nursery, or a torture implementation of the 20th century, shown in the Chamber of Horrors. But those who ask us so anxiously how men are to work without machines do not tell us how machines are to work if men do not work them, or how either machines or men are to work if there is no work to do. They are so eager to discover the weak points in our proposal that they have not yet discovered any strong points in their own practice. Strange that our vain and sentimental vision should be so vivid to these realists that they could see its every detail, and that their own reality should be so vague to them and they cannot see it at all. That they cannot see the most obvious and overwhelming facts about it that is no longer there. That's it, bro. I have this problem a lot. I get it. You guys come on here and you'll argue with me. Maybe one day you'll realize I care about the man. I care about the person, dumbass. That's what he's saying. You could go and tell me so easily what is wrong with capitalism and what is wrong with socialism. But it all ignores the state of man. Yes or no? What do you mean, what are we going to do without the machines? Well, what if nobody works the machines? What if there's no man to work the machine, bro? Like, come on. Or what if there's no work to do? Have you thought about that? Both sides artfully try to get you to focus on the problem and solution and ignore the individual at such a cold level. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Do you get it? Do you get it? Because that's the whole point he's trying to say here. Because what happens in capitalism? What do you mean? Okay, go look in the past like he's explained. Don't tell me like societies have succeeded and they failed. Dude, I remember San Diego after the crash. All these beautiful ass condos, empty, unfinished. Go look at Miami. Go look at Vegas. What if there's nobody to work? What if there's no work to do? Okay, what if the government takes away the job? All these things, socialism, capitalism, all of it is ignoring the man. My brother, you are the power. That's what I believe in. Y'all want to come at me? Fuck you. I believe that we are the source of all the power. I've always honored my people who work in here because I understand this. Come on. That's why some of y'all better wake up and realize who you are. You have way more than this world is telling you. Your power, you have it, bro. God didn't give you no power. If you choose to submit, that's on you. But I hope you get what he's saying. Very powerful. But go ahead, before you're so eager to tell me what's wrong or right with capitalism or socialism, tell me about the man. Tell me about the person who has to really work the job. What do they get out of it? Do they get to have choice? Do they get a fair wage? Do they get access to property? See, y'all playing around. Oh, but what happens if the government says you can't do what you want to do? Socialism fail. What happens? Guess what? Companies should go bankrupt. What do you mean government bailout? What do you mean Jerome Powell rate cuts? You want real capitalism? Let this shit fail then. They took the risk. Are you getting it? And if that happens, there's no job to work. What happens to the man? That's what matters. My brother, you are the source of all of it. So don't ever let anybody tell you your value. That's why they want you to lower your thinking, to lower your understanding so you could submit to one of these ideas without realizing that, wow, I have liberty. When I buy my property, I own my property. I have private property. I stand on it. I could bring work and trade fairly. They don't want that. Why? Because that is power decentralized. Every other avenue centralizes power to one side or the other. For it is one of the grim and even grisly jokes of the situation that the very complaint they always make of us is specially and peculiarly true of them. They're always telling us that we think we could bring back the past or the barbarous simplicity and superstition of the past, apparently under the impression that we want to bring back the 9th century. But they do really think they could bring back the 19th century. They're always telling us that this or that tradition has gone forever and that this or that craft or creed has gone forever, but they dare not face the fact that their own vulgar and huckersting commerce has been gone forever. They call us reactionaries if we talk of a revival of faith or a revival of Catholicism, but they go on calmly plastering their papers with the headline of a revival of trade. What a cry out of the distant past. What a voice from the tomb. They have no reason whatever for believing that there will be a revival of trade, except that their great-grandfathers would have found it impossible to believe in a decline of trade. They have no conceivable ground for supposing we shall grow richer, except that our ancestors never prepared us for the prospect of growing poorer. Yet it is they who are also blaming us for depending on sentimental tradition of the wisdom of our ancestors. It is they who are always rejecting social ideals merely because they were the social ideals of some former age. They are always telling us that the mill will never grind again the water that is past, without noticing that their own mills are already idle and grinding nothing at all, like ruined mills in some watery early Victorian landscape suitable to the watery early Victorian quotation. They're always telling us that we are fighting against the tide of time, as Miss Partington with the mop fought against the tide of the sea. And they cannot even see that time itself has made Miss Partington an antiquated as figure as Mother Shipton. They're always telling us that in resisting capitalism and commercialism, we are like Canute rebuking the waves, and they do not even know that the England of Cobden is already as dead as the England of Canute. They are always seeking to overwhelm us in the water floods to sweep us away upon these weary and washy metaphors of tide and time, for all the world as they could call back in the rivers that have left, or our cities so behind, or summon back the 7 seas to their allegiance of the trident, with gold of the few and the iron of many, the roaring river of the Clyde. We may be well tempted to the exclamation of Captain Wicks. We are not choosing between a possible peasantry and a successful commerce. We are choosing between a peasantry that might succeed and a commerce that has already failed. We are not seeking to lure men away from thriving business to a sort of holiday in Arcadia or the peasant type of utopia. We are trying to make suggestions about starting anew after a bankrupt business has really gone bankrupt. We could see no possible reason for supposing that English trade will regain its 19th century predominance except mere Victorian sentimentalism and that particular sort of lying which the newspapers call optimism. They taunt us for trying to bring back the conditions of the Middle Ages, as if we were trying to bring back the bows or the body armor of the Middle Ages. Well, helmets have come back and body armor may come back, and bows and arrows will have to come back a long time before there is any return of that fortunate moment on whose luck they live. It is quite as likely that the long bow will be found through some ancient superior to the rifle as that battleship will be able any longer to rule the waves without reference of the aeroplane. The commercial system implied the security of our commercial routes, and that implied superiority of our national navy. Germany, Italy, and Poland leaders to meet in Paris to discuss Ukraine. Everyone who faces facts knows that aviation has altered the whole theory of that naval security. The whole huge, horrible problem of a big population on a small island dependent on insecure imports is a problem quite as much for capitalists and collectivists as for distributists. We are not choosing between model villages as part of a serene system of town planning. We are making a sortie from a besieged city. Sword in hand, a sortie from the ruin of Carthage. Safe? Of course it's not safe, said Captain Wicks. I think it is not unlikely that in any case, a simpler social life will return, even if it returns by the road of ruin. I think the soul will find simplicity again, if it be in the dark ages. But we are Christians and concerned with the body as well as the soul. We are Englishmen, and we do not desire, if we can help it, that English people should be merely the people of the ruins. And we do most earnestly desire a serious consideration of whether the transition can be made in the light of reason and tradition. Whether we cannot yet do it deliberately, and well, that nemesis will do wastefully without pity, whether we could not build a bridge from these slippery downward slopes to a freer and firmer land beyond, without consenting yet that our most noble nation must descend into the valley of humiliation in which nations disappear from history. For this purpose, with great conviction of our principles, and with no shame of being open to argument about their application, we have called our companions to counsel. And that, my friends, is the full chapter 2. Take that one to the bank. That is your philosophy, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We're live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. Drop your thumbs up on that video. You're on mobile. Hi, chat. X out that chat. Hit that thumbs up button. Well, there you have it. I hope you get I agree with all of it. I don't have the answer. I don't think it's safe, but there is a solution. We have to try better. And they keep trying to tell us to ignore all these things. And that's why I'm saying, he even said it. The same people that accuse you of things, they're doing it. What do you mean? You guys are the ones sentimental. Oh, this weird fake optimism. There is an answer with liberty and private property. Amen. And I hope we don't get it through ruin, but if we have to, we will. But either way, there is an answer. And you, my friend, are the power. It is in you, the man. The man is important. That's what I believe. God made us all very special. God placed a value on your life. That's why you believe in the Constitution. I believe these rights inalienable. What are you talking about? God-given rights. But you have something. But again, the world has taught us to ignore it. So, Chad, I hope you understand the mission. But we will learn more as the time comes. Amen. Amen. Well, yeah, you're coming back down. Believe it or not, my SPY call is green. No cap. My TOT is same price. Interesting. Perfect peace. Amen, baby. Amen. Well, God is good, baby. All right. We're free in Gen Pop. Get ready. It's Power Hour, bro. Long time. Check me. Yeah. Dollar for the tacos, $1 for the chicken. Used to think life rough then, but now I'm reminiscing. Dream is feeling distant. Supposed to have her, shoulda had her, but now I have her. So frustrating. So Pam Bondi announces severe charges against Tesla vandalism.
Would have had a riot. Now you speaking for the people and they tell you be quiet. I ain't buying it. Little guy defend the MNC, anoint him at the DNC. Why your social movement always benefit the S&P? The first place to look for enemies. Enemies, not your fucking family. Know your core beliefs. I hope you see the war beneath. Forget about the future. They say only grab what's in your reach. They ain't smiling at you. It's a battle and they showing deep. Taught you how to criticize, so wisdom stay beneath your feet. Man, I'm feeling overlooked. They ain't even hungry, but they telling us that we cook. Hard to read the room if you can't even read a book. Yeah, hard to fake a smile when they sewn our mouths shut. Fuck, we won't even hear this. You won't even feel this. Jealousy override empathy and realness. A corporation steal this, repackage it and reel it. Evil so fearless, it's so shameless. Saying I'm blameless. The generation filming in the moment won't say shit. Why we call it brain dead when it felt like our soul dead? Or maybe we just sold it. Oh shit.
Some people don't even have dreams, you know what I'm saying? But if you blessed enough to have a dream, chase it, bro.
I had a dream like Martin, then I heard a couple stories. Never met my heroes, never had one. Never wanted things I never had, son. I got it, then I grabbed them. Looking back, these bitches Southeast sad them. Good more, don't ignore your sword for the war. Armor's no good if you leave that shit at home. I don't care if that match up with the drum. I ain't young, I ain't care about looking dumb. Out my way, we could talk when I'm done. Does it look like I'm finished? Even if I was, dog, I do my own dishes. Why the fuck you in my business? I ain't tryna be a menace. Need a couple minutes, but you're talking in your bitch and just show me that you don't get it. Look, now I wasted your time trying to reprimand, explain the basic shit so you could understand. I ain't being mean the way I teach. The big leagues ain't throwing underhand. Not the bad guy, I'm the best coach that you ever had. Something like LaMelo's dad. Mama was an immigrant, $5 an hour working with Brillo pads. We got some things we shouldn't have, so I can feel down, but I don't ever think I'm really sad. Life a miracle, but I won't give you one. But I can teach you shit, and you'll walk away with dividends. Wish you'll buy more, and then you'll wish you did it young. You missed the first harvest, but tell me about the second one. Trying to build while looking at the clouds. I'm looking at my hand, then I'm looking at the ground. Peter walked on water, but fell. When he looked around, I heard that story all my life. I think I start to get it now. Slow in the fast lane, answers in my last name. They really didn't listen, that's a damn shame. But that don't mean my plans changed. Maybe just the landscape did what I said without a handshake. 3,004 an ounce, that sound like a fair rate. Word is gold, they only kept theirs too late. So I'm on with your new face. A snake can move a few ways. And life a bitch that lie about how the fruit tastes. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Wow. We are back, baby. Thank you, Uncle. Ah, my goodness. What a day. What a day. All right, well, welcome to Power Hour, baby. So, give or take, we overshot the level a little bit, but we got to one of the other ones. There's interesting day for sure. You had every emotion. You're like, was Powell good? Was Powell bad? Powell was both good, and bad, all in the same day. But yeah, I think we got to work through the volatility. Uncertainty is still on the decline. And then, yeah, now you got this. But then tomorrow, you got a little bit of data. They're bad real estate data today. Again, even then, bonds were just a one-way road on whatever they wanted to do, bro. My goodness. GV. Yeah, honestly, nothing went too crazy. We were watching it all, but oil, I think, is weird. I mean, that's the thing, you guys, like, I don't know. Just, I don't think this is a coincidence, sadly. That oil and bonds are both doing this weird melt today out of nowhere. Obviously, is like post-Powell, but they're both, the way they're both trading just in their own little world of just melt. You got bonds yield just died. Meanwhile, oil just rallied finally. I haven't seen this in a while on both of them. That's a big move on bonds. You woke up insane, and then to sell all of that off very computer-like, and then oil bought up. So you might have a little bit more of that link. Yeah, maybe Friday. Money markets fall to $7 trillion. Wait a minute, does that mean 600 billion? What? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that number at 7.6? Let me see. I think money markets went down. So I don't know either. Did it go to stocks? I don't know. I don't know why oil rallied. I mean, there's war stuff coming back. Israel, the Houthi stuff the last couple days. But then you have like the Venezuela stuff too. But I think both, just the price action on both of them today, you know, this One Direction boy band shit is it sticks out. That's why I'm like, the first day in a while I see oils like trade like that. You got a very fat move up in yields after a big dip. It's technically not that big. You just lost the gains. TLT is technically green, but, you know, that's the funny part about this is that look at the market. Look at the scoreboard. You're not even 0.5% right now. You're right at the cusp. SPY down 0.3, Dow down 0.05, and then Russell down 0.4, and then NASDAQ down 0.48. Oh, yeah, you're right there. Yeah, oil or Putin stacking energy or attacking energy. The OPEC cuts would be favorable. You've had like push and pull, but then again, we've dealt with a lot of this stuff. Israel, OPEC, Putin, war, none of this is new. Like I'm saying, big moving yields one way or another. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna oil way. Or a spy put. I'm gonna spy call. They're gonna kill you. You know, but very odd. I said it earlier about oil. Or I guess just not even odd, just an observation. Is there going to be a watch list tonight? I don't know. I've been doing them live on this channel. So my schedule and sickness has been weird. I'm feeling a lot better, so that makes it a lot easier. It's just been a bad week for that, but other than that, we should, but you never know. Keep it exciting. So we'll see. Because I didn't like do a full workout yesterday, but if I do this workout and get clapped, I don't know. Follow me on Twitter, though. I'll post on Twitter. Because I post on YouTube too, but you guys don't see it when I like do the little post thing. Oh, no Nike plays, but I gotta move around the other plays. I totally forgot about that. Mm-hmm. What's that? UPS, you want to consider it because that'll move after today. So if you did want to do something with the long term, I would keep that in mind. What? Dude, I didn't even realize that. They slashed. Oh, they fucked me. That's crazy. They moved my FedEx puts from positive 30, or my calls, to down 30. Those down, what? Now down, I was going to move up at the end, but they're scammers. Yeah, I don't, so any pre-earnings got washed now. That FedEx was good, bro. That's crazy. We're talking like a $3-4 move right there. Yeah, those are, swear to you, those are just up. Bro, the last print on it 2 hours ago, I guess, but it was 50% higher. Yeah, well, usually when that happens on earnings day, the spreads are still wide, but I wouldn't be surprised if towards the end of the day, like the last couple minutes, they'll come back up. But it all depends on the final move. But for now, they're going to scare you a little bit, or you're actually going to get worked. Honestly, I'm not that mad, though. Worst case, if I'm going to hold me another FedEx, I like it for earnings, but I did want to reduce risk. I didn't want to go hard on it, but hey. Who's the other one? Micron, that was worked from the beginning. So Micron and Nike, both sides. Micron literally went up and the calls went down in the last week. Same thing, Nike went down and then the puts did not go up. Well, it just depends how far or close you were to, but 2 standard deviation plays they got washed like equally, 50% on both sides. So that one, I don't think I'm going to play it. I'm probably going to cut Micron if I'm going to hold FedEx, and then Nike, I don't have a play on it. I think I'm just going to play FedEx. I have old Nike like leap calls, I'm pretty sure. So that'll account for any China rally. I'm added mostly value. Am I looking to add growth names? Do you really care if I answer? How important is this question to you? Does it matter to you? Damn, those Pinduo duos are still up. I forgot about that. That was a good one. Honestly, not bad. Is China still down? And then SPY came up, still right below VWAP. You're wondering for balance, but like, is it important to you though? I just wanted to. I don't know where this. Like, where would you rate this on scale of importance? 1 to 10. Everyone is really bearish on Nike. They were like really bearish on Nike, but then again, it didn't help that first day on the job or first like reporting of it, you know? That was it was first reporting of the new CEO. He ended up like lowering the guidance where and then I forgot they canceled the event. Yeah, but they already lowered the guidance. His first impression was low and yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. You bid? I know I need to organize the bids, but my goal, I'm trying to tank the market because I'm a true liberal trying to hurt Elon. But I tried to sell my Cybertruck for $10,000, but everyone keeps offering me more money or they're telling me to just light it on fire. So I got to organize it a little bit more, but we'll see. Yeah, bro, it's been bad. You said $1. I know I have bids, though. And then I had somebody said they'll light it on fire, too. So, yeah. Dude, you know I have people who follow me like that's so funny to me. But like there's definitely like a smaller minority, but there's people who like listen to me and they fully believe in like lighting Teslas on fire. I think it's really cute. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And cuz I look at your Twitter too and I'm like, wow, you really are invested in this shit, huh? So I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, man. So sometimes they tell me I change, but no, I think more or less I'm just like, wow, you're down with the lighting the whips on fire. Hey man, by all means, I guess. Either way, I've gotten very interesting responses. Yeah, and then Will, who asked me about the cash balance thing, I'm banning you. Because I think you're a bot, to be honest with you. Because you asked me this question yesterday, and I answered it for you. That's why I asked you how important this was to you, and to see if you were listening, and you kind of were, but yeah, then you didn't respond. But yeah, so I answered that for you yesterday, if you go back around the time you asked me. DVR's on. Yeah, but he answered my other question. Are you his lawyer? So, okay, well, counsel, even if DVR was on, by logical assessment, I asked him a question that he responded to in real time, and I even gave a reasonable delay between the bands, so I don't know. All right, SPY working its way up. Not bad. Not bad at all. The TLTs came down. They're still up, though. TLTs bought from yesterday are up, but barely. But this one was a wicked one, man. And then now the SPY, those other SPY ones are doing kind of good. You can make those kind of free, not really. FedEx, I haven't really talked about it. I just made a play on it. I talked about the premiums. I'm probably going to hold my play both ways. I think it'll be, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think we've had good luck with FedEx. And I think it always might be worth a small little earnings play, 2 standard deviations, just given the environment. But yeah, now you can make the play 50% off. It was not like that an hour ago or about 2 hours ago, which is kind of mind-blowing, but I do think by close. The FedEx, the Nikes. Well, here, let me get you guys the previews, and then I'll post them on my Twitter.
Bad place to
go follow me on Twitter.
The reporters kind of
these.
Almost meanly goading him into it. You know, he said, well, last time you said that, last time, and Jay was obviously rattled by that because he said, well, if you meant last time that the tariffs came, he didn't want to go right to the one that was from 2021, 2022. But saying transitory on the tariffs, I mean, that's a little bit dangerous because we don't even know what the tariffs look like. But he's trying to thread the needle. And I thought he did just about as well as he could. And the term inertia, I think, reinforces that. He's basically saying no move's better than a bad move. I think they're going to be their philosophy for the next meeting as well. I don't believe we're going to see a cut at the next meeting.
When do you think we get the first one?
I think it might be in June, July type of time frame is when the first cut will come.
You know, it's interesting as they try and gauge and game out how the whole tariff issue is going to work and whether, in fact, inflation caused by tariffs, if at all, is transitory. I'd love your reaction to what the former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh said in his op-ed.
Talks
slow
now.
It was back in January, but it's poignant
now. He never talked like this. Am I tripping?
He essentially made the case that it's up to the Fed itself to make sure that tariff inflation is transitory. Quote, it's the Fed's duty, designated by Congress, to ensure that changes in relative prices don't become embedded in the economy. The Fed's job is to stop second-order effects of price changes. I'm wondering if you agree and if you think they can actually do it.
I think Jay Powell sort of parroted that yesterday as well. Whether they can do it or not is a real unknown. I mean, this is a very difficult situation. You've got an interest rate, and you're supposed to be dealing with geopolitical cross currents. You're supposed to be dealing with tariffs. You're supposed to be dealing with an inflation rate that is not cooperating. And all you got is this one number. And then you've got your quantitative easing or quantitative tightening. I don't know. I feel like the second order effects, if you will, I really don't know the answer to that question, where they can pull that off or not. And I think we're just going to have to use that inertia concept again and see what path this goes down and what responses we have both fiscally and monetarily and balance sheet from the Fed. So I think this is why we're stuck in this range where we are living in the middle of the interest rate ranges. We've been very constant on the 2-year Treasury being the guidepost for the Fed, and they're still in sync with it, talking about 2 cuts this year. So I believe that investors should have already upgraded their portfolios. We certainly have at Double Line. We've been upgrading all of our funds. In the funds where we have leverage, we've been decreasing the leverage with the lowest leverage in our leverage funds of all time since the founding of Double Line, 16 years ago. And so I think there's the rally that's happening with high yield being a little bit better in the last 2 days, stocks being a little bit better. I think that we're going to have another bout of risk, and I think that you don't have high yield spreads widened by just.
I think bonds are moving on that,
and then just stop.
Remember, this is gun lock. This is a bond king,
it's
bro.
Going to widen out. The utilities are outperforming, and when utilities outperform, that usually means that treasuries outperform high yield bonds. And that's been happening for sure.
Wait till high yield spreads go above 400 basis points.
The early innings of the purpose of a higher quality portfolio in fixed income. I still don't like the long end either. I'm not a fan of 30-year treasuries. I still like shorter maturity bonds, 2 years, 5 years. It's really the same playbook we've outlined, except in past visits, Judge, except this time I think you should be doing it more aggressively because it's already begun. I think the de-risking of bonds is going to start happening at a greater velocity. And so we want to have, and we do have, lots of dry powder for buying things when they're truly cheap, because we're not truly cheap in anything right now. Yes, but things are better. The PE's not as bad as it was, but it's still not in a buy zone.
I don't know about bonds. It's an interesting take on bonds.
And I would say the same for the periphery of the credit market. So we're still playing wait, and
I think he's
ready,
talking
aim,
stocks,
aim,
but I
aim,
also
we're
think
not
he
pulling the
means the
trigger.
bonds too.
Yeah, well, you like a lot
I think
of
he
people,
thinks
'cause
higher rates
there is such a
and
degree
way
of
cheaper
uncertainty that
stocks.
It's hard to have definitive moves in the market because you just don't know what tariff policy is going to be. You
Very
don't know
interesting.
to what degree the economy is going to continue to weaken as well. And I want to ask you about that. On the chance of a recession, the chair said, well, there's always a 1 in 4 chance. Quote, it's moved up, but it's not high. You've had the Treasury Secretary on this very network talk about a detox that is needed. You have had an administration that really has not gone out of its way to talk people off of the idea of a recession. I think in some cases you can make the argument that they have almost telegraphed that you could have.
I'm getting out of that one play. It's still up 20%
in the long run
so
anyway.
take it.
Your thoughts on all that?
Well, the change in government spending, I hope, is going to be to less government spending. Certainly, that is the purported idea of this DOGE situation. And lower government spending is going to lower the pace of economic growth. I mean, we've been living on, $2.2 trillion is the actual budget deficit for the last 12 months, $2.2 trillion. And if you're going to get that down to any sort of sensible number, it's going to knock a lot out of GDP. The one thing I think that is really bizarre is people that say that we're going to get growth up to like 3% real or something like this, or even 4%.
I'm not reacting to
nominal,
him. I'm just looking at the
same
options.
Time, we're going to balance the budget deficit.
So yeah, don't make that mistake. I'm just looking at, because we had that play, we bottom ticked it, but now it's moving up. It has a little bit of time. That's why I'm like, just in case, if you do one more like down test, all of that, because my TLT play to hedge it was way cheaper. So just take that money, and then you can reposition on it and find it. Otherwise, we're just going to miss out if it really rips, but I'm cool with that. Again, we already got a free play in there, so nothing to worry about. Because, again, we hit the first free play, second spy play is a hitter, runaway. It was up 40%. I walked away with like 20, 30, but not too bad. I'm down.
I don't know
like
if that can happen, because I think the cutting will weaken economic growth, which may lead to a counter response. It's one of the problems when you get yourself in one of these vicious circles that we've got ourselves in.
We heard that at Felo.
The chance of recession is higher
he is very
than
ominous.
most people believe.
Homeboy just said
actually
rate
think it's
cuts is
higher
going to keep
than
the economy
50%,
down.
Coming in,
and he might have a point
in the next few quarters.
Wow,
higher than
50%.
Bro, he's literally.
Yeah, I think it's 50 to 60 is where I am.
He says 50 to 60% recession.
And I don't
Yeah,
think
bro.
You're going to get a rally out of the long end of the Treasury bond market. I think that
bro,
already
he's just
happened.
crazy.
We had that
Dog,
Pavlovian
he's saying
response,
fucking.
and, we had the 10-year down to.
He's saying we're going to
360,
become China.
Now we're back up at about 4.25, and I'm not sure we're going to go below 4 again. In spite of the fact the economy may weaken.
Dude, listen to no, that's crazy though. I don't necessarily. I respect Gunlock a lot, and I think he's been right in many things, but I don't agree with all of it.
But it's with a small s,
unfortunately,
not a large s. Is it a real risk?
Remind me what he just said about China, or about that TLT
the tariffs
cuts and growth not going up.
Well
I'll explain it when he's done. Let's keep
the inflation
listening.
rate is going higher anyway because of the base effects of what's rolling off from last year. And so I think they just downgraded GDP. So we're getting closer to recession, and they just upgraded the inflation forecast, although just for this year. I do think it's kind of wishful thinking to think that somehow magically it's going to go back down to 2% in 2027. But I think that forecast is mostly hope that that's going to happen. We don't see. I mean, with the Fed saying they're going to cut interest rates and tariffs coming on, I have a hard time seeing
he's
how
not telling you something. I know what he's saying. I'll tell you.
I want to get.
He just says something, but he don't want to.
You had to figure this
he can't
was really
say
just
it because he got people. I'm independent. I can tell you whatever the fuck I want.
Related to the Fed and interest rates.
That's crazy.
In which the
I don't
president
really
posted last night.
He has something to lose
we'll
if you think
I'll
about
get your
it.
reaction
But
to
dude,
it.
this is wild.
The Fed would be much
fucking
better
Gunlock.
cutting rates as U.S. tariffs start to
He's
transition.
been bearish like this before, but
their way into the economy.
Nah,
Do the right thing. April 2nd is Liberation Day.
He just said something with a lot of
America.
subtext.
What's your reaction to that?
It's kind of par for the course, that's kind of the type of stuff that he does relative to the Fed. But I think he's not going to make any progress with that because the word is inertia. Not, we're not in a period of flux. I don't think he's going to be jawboned into changing his interest rates. Jay Powell should wait and see. He's going to wait and see. And so I'm glad you wrote down that word inertia because that struck me as well. And I really think that defines what the posture of the Fed is.
An object in motion stays in motion. I'm a big fan.
I also thought that the op-ed from the editorial board in the Journal today was quite interesting, where they made the argument now that tariffs, quote, give the Fed an inflation foil. That
is insane.
Chair Powell and company can basically pin any spike in inflation from here forward on the president.
I grabbed the same exact play. I just
convenient cover.
Wait,
do you agree?
I just took the money and got back in the same
price.
price.
How you could disagree with that. I think that's right. I mean, if inflation goes up, in April, May, then it's pretty easy to say that it's tariffs. And of course, Jay Powell said pretty clearly that he thinks the reason that inflation expectations have gone up by the consumer is tariffs. I don't know how he knows that. It's certainly a candidate for the reasoning why these surveys for inflation have gone higher and the break-even has gone higher. But I don't know. I think people still are just distressed about the price level. We've talked about this before.
No, he said what he said before is all that matters.
Your time period, and yeah, eggs are down a little bit, and gas is down, oil's down a little bit, but the price level is still very, very high, and I think that's really what's hurting. That's one of the reasons for my view on the consumer and the economy. I think the consumer is still grappling and perhaps is running out of wherewithal to grapple with prices of necessities. And it seems like inflation never really goes down. The price level never really goes down. The inflation rate can go down, but the price level doesn't. And we're going to be lingering with that. And that's putting downward pressure on the consumer's wherewithal.
Do you have more worry on that note than the Fed chair seems to have, at least at this very moment? I mean, he's made the case multiple times here that it's dangerous to read into surveys too much because
he's positioned a certain way.
A consumer that
it makes sense with what he's saying, but he said something really big without saying it.
Consumer is not going to go spend.
Yeah, there's that lack of the wall of worry again. Jay Powell did say the hard data is solid, it's the soft data. Well, it always happens that way. That's why I look at these consumer confidence surveys and the like, and they're not terribly
the hint is China.
So first spreads on high
all
yield
China.
widened by 10,
all China.
Then they widened by 30, then now they're out by 70, and the next thing you know, they're out by 150. And the soft data turns into the hard data. So I don't like dismissing, and Jay Powell's pretty good at following.
No, this is LeBron James.
I don't think he did it that well yesterday.
And the Lakers.
You don't want to throw out the data that you don't like just because you want to focus on a narrative.
No, man, this is the Bonky, Mr. Gunlock.
Is favorable for your messaging. So I don't take those are leading indicators. So I don't dismiss them.
Let me lastly ask you before we go. I think a lot of people. I know a lot of people came into this year with high hopes for this market. New administration, talk of relaxing regulations, tax cuts, and all of these pro-economy and market agenda items. I'm wondering what you make of the markets since Inauguration Day, where almost everything has been down.
All right, baby.
Are you surprised?
Well,
what's your view?
No, I'm not surprised. There's an old phrase that's worth heeding.
Come on.
Buy the rumor, sell the news. And
Yes.
in the aftermath of the election victory in November, everything went strongly up, and it's quite common for once it gets started, then you start to realize that we've already priced in the good stuff.
All right, I'm done.
Entering this
I'm
year,
done for the day. I'm out.
we had the
It went up
highest
another
record
20.
for,
The premiums are hella weird now. I'm done. I think I had a good entry.
How well stocks
done
would do
playing
in
with
the
it.
next 12 months. It was like the highest ever, which is always a bad sign. And so there was a lot of optimism built in, but that was because the market rallied in anticipation of all of this happening. And now you have to get on the other side. We said back at the last Fed meeting, I said I have no interest in these momentum names. I want equal weighted instead of instead of market cap weighted. And obviously, that was a very extended trade. It reminded me of the late 1990s. I don't think this is over. I think this is the first move.
Reports that Microsoft chooses not to exercise 12 billion core weave option
to take advantage of it at that time. That's my primary recommendation. We've already done that in a significant way over a significant period of time.
Again, I just don't like the premiums. I had a good play. I wanted to walk away a winner.
Of course, May 7th.
I'm gonna hold that other free one, and then that's it.
See you on May the 7th.
Yeah, well, I think we're doing it live.
That's on you guys. You got the last 30 minutes.
We are.
Maybe we can do it there.
We are. You'll be sitting right next to me here at Post 9, and I can't wait for that. Jeffrey, be well. Thanks as always.
I've never met Jeff Gundlach. I've never spoke to him, but he is referenced as the Bond King. He has a very good history. I respect him. I don't agree with everything he has said. And you heard him talk about it. He just said they have a lot of dry powder. He's even thinking yields will never come down. That's why he's saying inertia, momentum. The 40-year bond market is going to keep blowing up as it has been after breaking a 40-year bull, but so you got to know where does he lose? He's one of the guys where if the bond yields ripped and went down, he would be a victim of underperformance. That's why. So I could see where he's at, and he has a lot of dry powder. But what I just heard, without him saying it, this motherfucker is preparing for deflation. So if he really believes what he is saying without saying it, he literally just said you're going to go through China deflation, like I've told you. I didn't say it's going to happen, but I've brought this theory up in the past because I was just telling you, whatever China does, we usually do. And then everybody likes to think just because it happened there, it won't happen here. But I was saying just deflation entering in the modern world kind of freaked me out. But yeah, well, he just said a recession's 50-60% chance by next quarter. But then again, it sounds like he's trying to keep the bond yields high because if they dip, he's fucked. If he's wrong, he is going to get left in the dust, unfortunately, even if he is the bond king. That's kind of the problem there. But at the end of the day, I don't know when it will happen, but I could see it happening. Is essentially, so I wouldn't necessarily be as confident as he is and put it on there, but he was just telling you literally rates are not going to go down even if the Fed cuts. And he says if we cut, growth isn't going to pick up. Do you understand what he just said? Do you understand? He literally said growth is going to slow down, the Fed is going to cut, and then growth is going to keep going down. That's literally what happened in China. And that's what not stagflation. This is going to lead to deflation. That's why he has all that dry powder. That's why he thinks bond yields are going to go way higher and nothing's really cheap because he believes in his dollar in deflation. I agree with him to a degree. I'm just not going to be the jackass trying to time it because as long as you're broadly diverse, I'm just diversified version. That's it. I could agree with what he's saying. What's the difference between him and me? I'm diversified. I'm much smaller. If I'm wrong, I don't pay for it as much. I could win and lose in many ways, right? But diversification, I'm not the bond king. I'm not all in bonds or all in cash. He has more cash. He has more bonds. He believes bonds will do something else. So I don't know. I've brought up this theory in the past, but to hear somebody else kind of hint at it is very fascinating in my mind. Very, very fascinating, bro. Because I'm like, no fucking way. That's actually crazy. Dude, he just said they're going to cut rates. Rates won't even go down. And then that's it. Growth won't even pay. It kind of makes sense because you had rate hikes and nothing happened. Inertia. Even with the hikes, the object in motion stayed in motion from the bond market, anything. So I could see where you could say that. But like I said this about a year ago, maybe longer. I just said it was weird. Everybody, we love to do this. We love to look at somebody and laugh. And we're like, ha ha, your side of the boat is sinking. Ha ha, Literally, just liberal, Democrat, Republican beef shit. It's so stupid. You're literally looking at somebody and laughing, saying, ha ha, your side of the boat is sinking. It's like, we're on the same boat, jackass. You get what I'm saying? That's why I told you this years. That's like partly when we were buying China, a little bit ahead of that, because like I told you, I was like, that's weird that I don't like deflation in the modern world. I, for years, even on YouTube, have told you how worried deflation is the only thing I'm really scared of. No, nothing in life, even then, God is good, but y'all ain't, all your little shit, you ain't scary. Like, real deflation is scary. Don't fuck with me. You know, like, that is a terrible, terrible thing. And I've said that for a long time, but yeah, way before any politics. I said this in 2018, for crying out loud. But at the end of the day, it's like this whole, the fact that we are getting deflation in China and it coming to the modern world, I don't like that. Because although you could be like, oh, well, that's China, that's this, that's that, I don't care. It just happened. You just watched a societal shift. You just watched a society collapse, low-key. You had stimulus. You went from gamblers to these guys are puking at the sight of a gamble. It's actually terrible. It's terrifying. Go look at China. Go look at what happened to real estate, business, youth unemployment, everything. Everything in China was terrible. And yeah, that's why it's just not good. So that's why I was like, you know, a lot of people thought it would never happen and they still think it'll never happen. This is why I've always told you a hard landing tied to deflation, that I'm always going to be, you know, you got to kind of entertain it in this environment. Doesn't mean you try to time it, but yeah, it's a terrible thing. It is a terrible thing, and we've already seen it, and sadly, we do what China does a lot of the time, or they do what we do. It's a weird mix, so that's I don't know, that's literally what I heard from him, or at least that was the conclusion. He didn't say, but if you told me you think there's going to be cuts, growth will still go down and bond yields will still go higher after rate cuts and a 60% chance of recession in the next quarter, my conclusion is major deflation, China. That is my conclusion. So that's what I heard. Fascinating.
All right, shares of Darden are higher by about 5.5%
all you got, Bloomberg?
after reporting guidance that shows
that guy was just talking bonds.
About 3%
come on.
this quarter. Now, Darden owns brands including Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse, both of which are outpacing most of their casual dining peers.
Oh, and then did you guys see it? I did it during that. But if you guys go to my Twitter, Real Cult News, I have the earnings previews. So FedEx is down 11% on the quarter. They're pricing in 8.8. They move big. Last quarter, they didn't move, apparently. I think we hit last quarter. Did we not? Or was one of these, but it has a tendency to open up green, and then that's it. So then there's that. Then Nike. This is a good one. And they're only down 4 on the quarter, but they're pricing in 8. And then Micron pricing in 10, and then it moves a lot every time. So, yeah, but I don't know. I think I want to cut the Micron. That was kind of my idea. Let's see if the FedExes come up, I'll sell them. But if not, I'm riding that. I'm not going to get scammed. Those little fuckers. Yeah, I saw wind dropping earlier, so I put it up. Hey, wow, the DVR. I thought I turned it off. And then Carson, these off markets are emailing, are you getting in contact with these people? But provide some details. Yeah, otherwise don't send me the emails. I don't know if you're just pulling up random houses. I have no idea what the context is. I'm like, why do I have 42 emails? So yeah, I have not looked at my emails today, and then I have a lot from a couple of people. But yeah, give me some context. But yeah, DVR is off. Just refresh. Boss, I haven't looked yet, bro. I'm flooded right now. So I was just going through the earnings, and then I clicked my tab with the DVR, and I saw my email had a lot, so I just looked. But yeah, no. What's the context, though? Don't, get in touch with the homeowner. Otherwise, there's no point of sending me just the address, because it could just be a random home that I don't know anything about it. So try to get context. If you're in touch with the homeowner, that's really the value there. So then we could actually make a deal. The rally in value. The other day, it kind of was. We'll see, though. But tomorrow, big expiration. You're going up. Those premiums are a little higher. I'm already out of them. I only got one of those free ones. Other than that, you finalize your plays, man. You only got 15 minutes. And then, yeah, decide on earnings. MU. MU's it moves a lot, and it moves 1.5 standard deviations. It's weird. But look at this. I don't want a proxy. I wanted the pre-run up, but they scammed me. I'm going to hold Netflix, and I think I'm getting rid of Micron. And then no Nike play. Because again, you guys, I flipped Pinduoduo. You guys were asking me about that one yesterday, about earnings. Like I said, the premiums are high and shit, so might as well make it easy. I flipped that in the morning. I got 160%. So I think with Micron or Sympathy, I'm probably just going to play it in the morning. But I think FedEx is one I'm going to hold. That's it. Other ones, I just got scared. I lost. I'm going to lose on the pre-run up for Micron. I was up on the FedEx as of yesterday and as of 2 hours ago. But I don't know. I think maybe we'll get lucky on Netflix. But we'll see. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. Yeah, the Pinduoduo is still up. I think I'm tempted to hold the MU, but I think if I want to play one of them, because I don't really like them with this environment, I'm going to play the FedEx, but let's at least lower the risk, get our money back on Micron, because there's still money in it. At least I have some. But then again, if you even play small, some could be one. Mark Carney, government needs strong and clear mandate. Okay, SPY going up. Those plays are up. I think I have a sweet spot. I sold out of it. Again, I flipped out like 20% twice, so technically 40%. And then I got a free one, but still. The premiums are weird, bro. Because we got a good entry, and then it would trip out, but then I was like, how is it still up? And then I did it again. I'm like, all right. And then it would be higher and lower, but I'm out. I'm done for the day. I knew today was going to be a weird one. We looked at it, but I'm glad that we hit. We hit in the morning. We hit that. And then now you just wrap up your earnings plays. There's your 10-minute rigged. And God bless America. We will be here for earnings. So we have the previews. Go to my Twitter. And then when the earnings come out, you guys have the newswire up. I'm being nice, I guess. But when the earnings come out, just compare it to the Twitter, and you'll be good to go. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. You were working on the long term and would like to add crypto for the long term. Any coins? Yeah, only one. It's called Bitcoin. That's it. Otherwise, it's not your long term. You're just trying to mask your other desires behind a safe, sound investment. So even then, I would probably be buying value stocks before Bitcoin right now. You're young. You can find a way to get in there later. But yeah, just Bitcoin only. Oh, I forgot. Apple puts, why? So have a reason, but again, Apple's already moved a lot. I like Apple calls just because it's down so much, but right now I think your real plays are going to be either pre and post earnings leading into tomorrow. We're going to have a big expiration. Education plays maybe. Bonds might be better off. There's a lot of action there, so I don't know why Apple, but if you have a reason, I'd love to hear it. Oh, technicals? Yeah, that's all you then. Oh, yeah, brother. Like, don't tell the fucking kid to buy XRP in his long term. Why do you hate him? Like, why do you want to promote your bag so much? Just shut up. You know what I'm saying, bro? Just let the kid save 10%, buy quality value names at a good price. You know what I'm saying? Why do you want to fucking lead him down this road? Why do you want to just fucking take him? Why do you want to pull him down there with you? Just let him fucking just take the solid advice that was reasonable without fucking confusing him. You know what I'm saying? It's not as, you don't even know if it's a good road if you're asking me if it's a bad road. So there you go. I know what a great road is, and I'm giving him that with clarity. You don't even know what road it is now. See? You're confused now. I'm not. So I would just focus on the simple. And what, like I told, Bitcoin only, long term. And if it's long term, focus on the quality, just like you have watched done and executed in front of you. Mm-hmm. Just let's. Mm-hmm. You're not confused. Well, you asked me. You just asked me a question, so I figured you were. Maybe you're not, but like I've been telling people in here, you know, try to, if you're gonna recommend something to somebody, you guys should do it somewhere else. I don't want people confused. You know, somebody asked me, should I add crypto coins to the long term? You shouldn't. You should maybe buy Bitcoin, but now's not the time to. Now's the time to save 10%, buy value. There's a couple growth names that are still affordable, and you could go through there. And that's what we are about. But it's unfortunate that you guys will involve yourself in those conversations, and it gets people confused. May not have been your intention, but I am on a vigilant mission to stop this. Yeah, make sure you separate them too, low key. I agree. All right, final 5, baby. All right, let me close this shit. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. Bro, they whacked the other ones. I fucking hate these fucking market makers. They just took the call fucking bid down. All right, I sold out of the puts. Oh, my bad. They just fucked your bid up on it, too. They're just dropping the bids on everything. I'm laughing, but what the fuck? Bro, they just literally just took the bids down to 0. I just sold one of them out. I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, that's crazy. Like, at least, like, keep it reasonable, you fuckers. Now it's just like 1 cent bid, fucking 10 cent ask, 8 cent ask. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Stupid fucks. The real value's fucking like 10. That's insane. No, they just dropped the bids, but you know what that means, right? There's nobody really trading right now. Nobody has money. Because then that's insane. That's because there's not one bid higher than 1 penny that was waiting there. It is all just computers, bro. All right, well, I'm putting limits in, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to sell it at 1 penny. I mean, it's worth at least 5. I'm telling you, it's not worth. It's worth at least 5. Look at now the bid is up to now the bid is tripled. Wow. Look at that. Yeah, stay classy, market makers. Fuck you. Give me 5 on the bid. Fuck you. And fuck the free world. Still standing here screaming, fuck the free world. Look at now it's at 4 with 400 on the bid. Are you kidding me? Oh, no, there's no rules. We signed up for this game. What the fuck? You know it's a casino. I'm just telling, fuck you. Fuck you. Not you, but the fucking pit boss. Whoever's doing this shit. All right, he gave me 4 cents. He's like, that's the best I could do, Josh. I'll take 4. All right, I'm out of it at 4, little fucker. I'll give you $20, $10. Piece of shit. Yeah. Hey, dude, I'm telling you. But that's what I'm saying, though. If you're not aware of that, you would have just sold those for $1. I got 400% more on my loss by knowing they're a fucking scammer. It's insane. What was the point of that? I should have held it. Micron's going to rip now. Little fuckers. Excuse me for all my F words, but that's how I genuinely effing feel. These little scammers. Bro, they literally just negotiated with me. I said it. I said, no, higher. And then higher. And then it went high. I'm like, this is crazy, bro. Stupid fucks. Not any of you. Fucking Arca. Jeez, bro. There's no way. I was like, what? They did that. They cut the FedEx in half. And I tolerated that pretty damn well. But not that shit, bro. Fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah, now the FedEx bids are tightening. I don't know if that helps. All the bids. I just think there's no money. I don't know. That's scary. But watch out. Watch out for any of the out of the monies, though. That's what I'm telling you. There's no real, like, 30 seconds. There's no real money. Judge orders Trump state admin to state by March 25th why its failure to return deported Venezuelans did not violate his order. Damn, you got a book report, homie. All right, you got 15 seconds. Wrap it up. UNH is launching. Oh, shit. Oh, they're trying to scam you. Oh, UNH, come on. Give me one. Give me one. I got one. I got one. Oh, I did it. Did I get scammed? It was fucking 2 cents. I got one at 2 cents. I don't give a fuck. Ding 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 ding. Ladies and gentlemen, I fucked up the landing, everything. I was too busy yelling at market makers. But hard, we did it, baby. Let's go. Damn it, I told you Micron go fucking rip. Fucking scammers. All right, it has to go 30%. Let's go, baby. We did it. We made it. All that matters is FedEx. Let's get there. Wait, no, that's not it. I need a GG in the chat.
Not this one.
Go to my Twitter. The earnings are going to come out. They go on the wire? Yeah, here's Micron. Compare it to what you see on the Twitter.
We did it, we made it, and these bitches hatin'. We did it, we made it, and these bitches hatin'. We did it, we made it, and these bitches hatin'. The haters complain why creators creating. Did it, we made it, and these bitches hatin'. We did it, we made it, and these bitches hatin'. We did it, we made it, and these bitches hatin'. The haters complain why creators creating. Did it, we made it, and these bitches hatin'. I sing it, I'm praising my God.
So they missed on EPS. Adjusted beat. Where's revenue?
My car cost a home, teach your ass not to judge. There's a lot I don't know, but I know show some love. I'm so smart, I play dumb. Rather have me the money.
8.05. Yeah, they beat it. A little bit. It's in line though. C's third quarter 8.8. That's a higher raise. The 8.4. Well, good game, yeah. So this one, it was a beat. EPS revenue, it's all within line, but it's on the higher end. And the guide up plus or minus, it's in line, but they didn't lower the range, which I think is good. So Micron, we're going to call it a win, but this is all the options are still going to lose, but they made you lose. Oh, there's FedEx. FedEx, we're on that 240? Oh, is it dying? 376 and 451. Please hold. FedEx, EPS 451. They did 456, so they lost. Oh, I think we might hit. They're down 5 for now. Why did that change colors? And then where's revenue? 21.8. Let me check. I need the easy number. Oh, yeah, EPS, slight miss. Oh, there it is. Dilute. There's details on it. Oh, dilute EPS 376. They're only putting out that one. Give it a sec. It might cuck, actually. Or 22.2. They beat by 200 million. Slight beat, slight miss on EPS. Wait till you get that guidance. Net was 910. Yeah, 370. Adjusted 451. And then full year revenue down slight to flat. I need a number. Oh, here it is. They revised full year 25 outlook. Completed 500 million repurchase. This might be it. Let me go through this. Fiscal 25, 22.2. Operating income 1.29. Unadjusted 159 or 51. They missed. They completed $2.5 billion purchase with $500 billion in repurchases. Tax benefit of 19 cents a share. Reaffirming forecast, permanent cost reductions, ETR of 24.0. Revenue flat to down year over year compared to the prior forecast. Any EPS? 19. Oh, wait, where is it? Oh, dude, yeah, big guide down. There it is. I have to read it through the fucking words. 15.5 to 15.7 before retirement compared to prior forecasts of 16.4 to 17.5. And then 18 to 18.6 versus 19 to 20. So that's another guide down after the last guide down. Honestly, I think it's bad, but it's holding up very well. But they guided down on there. Yeah, 2 standard deviations is always going to be the move, but like I'm saying on some of these, if it's pricing in too much, you shouldn't go for them. That's why like Micron was pricing in a lot. FedEx priced in a decent amount, but it moves a little bit more, and I just thought their situation might have warranted it a little bit more. But yeah, two standards always there. Unable to provide full year EPS or tax rate outlook. So they can't offer that guidance, but then they lowered the full year revenue by like $2, and then the other estimate down by another $5 or something like that. It's terrible. Operating margin 6.8 versus 7. But yeah, it's holding up very well. Come for all things considered. I don't know, where's UPS? Then Micron's up, but you're still half of what was priced in, I think. Do I have the video? I don't take my videos down unless YouTube forces me to. So yeah, it should be there. Yeah, blame the tariffs. Oh yeah, are we gonna get our first round? I forgot. Oh yeah, where's Nike too? How come for Nike being as popular? Did Nike come out yet or no? Now that I think about it, Nike's not even out. That's the big one. I think FedEx was another. Yeah, FedEx is going down, but it's holding up very well for like a triple guide down, you guys. It did bad on all of these. So they guided down here, and they're guiding down here, and they're missing on everything. So look, it's coming across the wire. I read it. It was hard to find. You have to like read that bitch. But yeah, they guided down on EPS again, or excuse me, on the full year guide, and then some aspects they can't give it. Yeah, where the fuck is Nike? Yeah, Nike is not out yet. Well, and again, just go to my Twitter and then compare it. So that's how you're going to do it if the numbers come up here. But yeah, Nike 11.02, and then EPS at 30 is what we're going to be looking for. Not bad. 8 minutes. All right.
One turn. It's a call, baby. Hey.
We'll wait until it gets here.
Yeah. Ask me if I'm holding stocks. Please don't be ridiculous. I was holding shit and buying dips. You were a little kid. All I want is ownership, but I still put a limit in. No matter if you young, you could always use a dividend. Know you want the money. I suggest you do not rush with it. Dias aren't plans. Make sure you don't fall in love with it. You ain't never saved. By the second month you double it. Trading foreign currencies. I don't need a dumb on it. I don't need a translator. Nod my head and run with it. Mama always said never marry but have fun with it. Mama said that's wrong, but deep down I always fuck with it. If you don't like my plan, do your thing. I wish you luck with it. Why they call me fan, but I don't see them at the holidays. Say that you're a man, but on the internet you talking gay. Go ahead, you could cancel me, but don't act like you ever pay. You look dumb as fuck if only one of us is playing charades. Stop asking what I mean, bitch. That wasn't a parable. Just because they copied me don't mean that we're comparable. You support the phony, that just means your judgment terrible. An iPhone in your hands, you're a narc, that's a wearable. Didn't buy the stock, it was down, right in front of you. Didn't say I lost, my account looked like a W. You don't got the long term, it's hard for me to fuck with you. If you can't pay yourself, then I wouldn't put my trust in you. Fuck it, dude. Hold my dick, I won't hold my tongue. Remember they were talking shit about Amazon when I was young. Oh wait, they did the same, it was Meta right in front of them. Think they'd have a little bit of shame from always looking dumb. Nah, they on a diet and it's humble pie. It's 2025, you could kick it, you ain't gotta lie. Made $1 million buying value, I don't buy the hype. My girl is really classy, all you ratchet bitches not my type. Why? They don't buy it till it reached the high. You picked the right thing, but you also picked an awful time. You would be surprised how making money make you fall behind. Maybe I offended, but that doesn't mean I told a lie. Wow, you really like it when they lie to you, ignoring all the things you hear, denying what the eye produce. Helpful isn't friendly if they helping you to tie the noose. You teach them how to steal your money every time you live and lose. Damn, I won't lie, my mama taught me that. Whoever sold you all those courses, you should probably take it back. It's all a bunch of bullshit, you would learn more if they told you that. I know you know the truth, so you still got time to go to that.
It's in there. It's in there if you listen. It's in there if you listen. You got to be tuned in the right way. But, dog, you right. You kind of broke my heart, Robert. Your little flashback broke my heart, man. You're right. I remember the days of people going on their computer and building Nike shoes, bro. I was too poor, but I would build them like I would build a Porsche GT3. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. No, dude, that's heartbreaking. You just brought me back, bro. You remember in like East Bay? Those were and then you could like put your name, you could like engrave it, and then you had the Nike shoe builder, bro. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's a really good testament of like, that's when Nike was like, oh my gosh, bro. Like, yeah, it's the culture has fallen a long way from there. That's why I was saying when I went to the On store, I went to one of the On flagship stores. I was just with my girl, and she wanted to go see it. She's Swiss. We had to. I think otherwise they take her passport or something like that. But, dude, and I went in that store, and the culture was like, it was unmatched. I haven't seen that since the early days of Nike. They had running clubs. They had people, everybody, all shapes and sizes, families, like, everybody was packed in this place, bro. And it was just like, it felt like the OG Nike. And then, bro, I'm not going to lie to you. The other day, I was at Fashion Valley Mall in San Diego. Where my San Diego? Where you at, San Diego? Make some noise, San Diego. Just kidding. We suck as fans. We're terrible. We're a terrible community we don't make noise. San Diego, we just laid back, bro. And that's how we let all these LA liberals take us over, bro. Fuck you. Come on, San Diego. Oh, Nikes. EPS 54 cents. That's a smash, baby. 11.3. Fuck yeah, that's that new CEO. Asia Pacific, Latin America, down 11. Asia, Latin America revenue 1.47. So they missed on China. Europe, Middle East 2.8. They beat. Let's see, America 4.86. They beat in America by almost 10%. And then Trump signs action boosting U.S. critical mineral output. We're juggling two wires here, baby. Hold on, you're already right back down. So North America beat, though. That was great. Everywhere else, China missed. And then I don't know what the new CEO did, but they doubled up profit, I believe. Let me double check and make sure that's not adjusted. But I'm pretty sure EPS 54. That might be it. What's margin? I don't know. I don't see a margin number yet. All right, let me dive into it. But then you got Trump signing a mineral bill. It's already pop-locked and dropped it, so something's in there. I think it just might be China miss, but I like the EPS thing. Something's in there, but it might not be that bad. But I think this is what we wanted last quarter. Now, I want to check margin. I think the margin's probably low. That's the only thing I didn't see. But I hope that makes... No, it's out in German. Where's my girl? I have the German release, but I can't read fucking German. And if I did, you would probably light my Tesla on fire. Oh, wait. No, you don't have to? Oh, that's weird. Okay, I got it. Gross margin to 41.5. I need EBITDA margin, but gross margin decline. Progress we made. The win now strategic. We're committed to 90 days. Reinforces confidence. Our outlook for second half driven by win now action remains consistent. Direct revenues were 4.7, down 12 due to 15% decrease. Wholesale revenues are down. Everything was still down. But this is what you wanted. This is what revenues were down too, finally. Cash and cash equivalents down 10 or down a little bit, but 10.4 billion. But this is what I'm saying of did they raise the dividend? Either way, this is the report that you wanted. So you remember new CEO, you wanted him to do something and sound somewhat confident. And he was just like, yeah, we got to adjust. I got to work from home. I got to move in. is actually looking a little in my check-ins and my savings. So I think this report was just a little better, if that makes any sense. I think the margin and all the numbers are still a weak spot. China is still a slight miss, but at least you just want to hear this motherfucker be confident. I mean, go look at Starbucks. So at the end of the day, I think it's a slight beat, but it's not necessarily your watershed moment, but it could be a good turn in confidence for management, which was lacking last time. So yeah, earnings net 794 versus estimate of 424. That's what I'm saying. Net income doubled. So they kill whatever he did, they killed it on profit, and they lowered the what's it called? The inventory. Revenue 11.2 versus 11. Gross profit 4.6. Gross margin 4.15. Earnings per share 54. That's a double the beat. That's because of the net income. And then yeah, inventories went down a little bit. So not bad. Not bad. Owning a Cybertruck must be a volatile experience. It is. First, it's the coolest thing ever. Old guys, even old liberals in San Diego walk up to you and they're like, hey, I see it. Let me see the inside. You know that? I was like letting old guys just go walk inside my car, bro, for a straight fucking 2 weeks. Anytime I drove that, I had a senior citizen asking to see my car, and I'm a nice guy. I let him in. I'm like, fuck yeah, come on in. They ain't gonna take a picture of me, bro. You know, bro, it was a very weird experience, but I was down. But yeah, everyone loved the car. It was the coolest thing ever. Now I'm a target. I'm literally a target. A target. So yeah. Very volatile. I don't know. Now I want to sell it. And then that's it. I mean, it must be volatile owning Tesla shares, no? Feel like it's the same type of experience. You just added 25 Nike. Let's go, baby. Good luck. I think I'm still down on it, so you're getting it a little cheaper. Qubits. No. Why would it go down on earnings? They don't make a lot of earnings? What? People aren't buying quantum computers? How? I don't get it. What do you mean they lost 47 cents a share? They were only supposed to lose 5. So I'm not going to lie to you. Are you ready? I mean this humbly. I made more money this quarter than Qubits. No exaggeration. They made $100,000 in 3 months. And they spent $4.8 million. I'm a way better investment. And I don't want to hear shit. You're like, oh, you can't run Intel. Oh, yeah, but guess what? I do way better than that, bitch. I don't spend $4.8 million to make $100,000. I don't think I've ever done that in my life, actually. But yeah, that's the number for Qubits. All jokes aside, 100,000 was their revenue. R&D, 4.8 million. EPS, loss of 47 cents a share. Here's the deal. The estimate was 5, but there's only one estimate. So there's only one analyst who had an estimate, and he was wrong by 10 times. And then his revenue estimate was 200,000, and he was off by about 100%. But hey, it happens. He's the only guy. He can't hide behind the average. That's crazy, bro. What does that come down to? So if you gave me, let's spitball here, say 4.8 million divided by 3, so $1.6 million a month. If you gave me $1.6 million a month to spend on real estate leads, I could easily make more than $100,000, I think. I'm going to go out on a limb. but I would assume I would make 1.6 million, but at minimum, otherwise I wouldn't engage in that business prospect. Trump is invoking emergency powers to boost the availability of U.S. critical minerals.
The Department of Education has never educated a child.
I go to the Department of Education has never educated a child. What?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a wild soundbite. The Department of Education has never educated a child.
Thank you very much, Evan. And I'd like to start by saying that our country is doing very well. Things are, as you can see, doing quite well. Please sit down. Before we begin, I just want to announce that I signed a proclamation a few moments ago honoring the 250th anniversary of Patrick Henry's famous speech to the Second Virginia Convention, in which he declared very well-known, very famous words, "Give me liberty or give me death." Has anyone heard the phrase? I think most of you have.
Has anyone heard the phrase? It's a good one. It's a great one.
And moments ago, I also signed an executive order to dramatically increase production of critical minerals and rare earths. It's a big thing in this country, and as you know, we're also signing agreements in various locations.
Yeah,
to
BTU,
unlock,
coal.
Rare
BTU,
earths,
ARLP,
minerals,
FCX, those will
other
move off
things
of
all
this.
over the world, but in particular, Ukraine, we're doing very well with regard.
This one's
to
laggy. This is like a
Ukraine
couple
and
minutes. Oh,
Russia.
no.
And one of the
All right, I thought it
things
was
we are
behind,
doing
but this is
signing
behind
a
by
deal
like
very
2
shortly
seconds.
With respect to rare earths with Ukraine, which they have tremendous value in rare earth, and we appreciate
That's good.
that.
He just said they're going to
And
sign
we,
a deal with
spoke
Ukraine
yesterday
soon.
with, as you know, President Putin and President Zelensky, and we would love to see that come to an end, and I think we're doing pretty well.
Signing deals shortly with Ukraine on rare earths.
A week from dying. That's what it's all about. They're dying so unnecessarily, and I believe we'll get it done. We'll see what happens, but I believe we'll get it done. Today we take a very historic action that was 45 years in the making. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all.
Wow, he's doing it. Like, actually. Well, not unless I could do something about it, Josh. Where's the Molotovs?
Doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it, and everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right, and I hope they're going to be voting for it, because ultimately it may come before them, but everybody knows it's right, and we have to get our children educated. We're not doing well with the world of education in this country, and we haven't for a long time. And we're pleased to be joined today by the woman who I chose because she's an extraordinary person, and hopefully she will be our last Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon. Linda, thank you. Thank you very much. That's another interesting statement. It's an interesting opening, right? But it's true, and it's been amazing how popular this has been. I tell people that this is what I'm doing today, and they say, oh, it's about time. Everybody says it. Republicans and Democrats have said it. They're all saying it. Also with us are some terrific people. Governors Greg Abbott. Greg, thank you very much. Governor Ron DeSantis, thank you very much, Ron. Mike Braun, congratulations on your victory, Mike. That was a big one. Mike DeWine, thank you very much, Mike. Jeff Landry. Jeff, thank you very much, Jeff. Bill Lee, thank you. Governors, all governors. Brad Little. Brad, thank you very much. Where are you, Brad? Hi, Brad. Jim Pilan, thank you very much, Jim. And Kim Reynolds. These are all people very interested in education, and I even see Dan Patrick over there, my friend Dan Patrick. We're joined also by Representatives Tim Walberg and Virginia Fox, Rick Allen, Michael Rulli, and again, Dan Patrick. Thank you very much, Dan. You've been a great friend of ours. And State Attorneys General Ken Paxton. Ken, I see you there. Andrew Bailey. Andrew, what a job you've done, Andrew. You have some good cases going. You've done a great job. Thank you very much. And co-founder of Mom.
I wasn't supposed to show up there.
Tiffany Justice.
It was supposed to pop out.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought I heard Tim Walls.
When President Carter created the Federal Education Department in
short
1979,
Wait, where's the stocks, Josh?
By members of
I'm
his
a
own
knucklehead. Oh, there it is, Josh. Thanks.
Federation of Teachers,
Good job,
the
Josh.
New York Times
How do I
editorial
short
board,
Tesla?
and the
Oh,
famed
fuck.
Democrat,
Bring the
Senator
E-Trade back.
Daniel
Do
Patrick
it again.
Moynihan.
Good.
History has proven
Wow.
them right.
You
Absolutely
scared me.
right.
We
After
must fight
45
back.
years, the United States spends more
Bring
money
up
on
the stock
education
market,
by far
Josh.
than any other country.
Josh,
It spends likewise by far more money per pupil than any country, and it's not even close. But yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success. It's an amazing stat. Those are two stats you don't want. The most money spent per pupil, and you're at the bottom of the list. And that's where we are, like it or not.
That's funny. That's what I was just looking up. I'm like, all right, Department of Education is actually started in 1980. So I'm like, what are the stats since 1980?
Fourth graders lack even basic reading skills.
But yeah, we didn't get better.
Students in our public elementary and middle schools score worse in reading today than when the department opened by a lot.
Yeah.
In Baltimore, 40% of the high schools have 0 students who
So
can
this
do
is
basic
true. I mean, I don't know about Baltimore, but
not even the very
so like literally reading levels are worse since 1980.
And they're talking about
and then graduation levels, we were number 1 when the Department of Education was created. Now we are 15.
Budget has exploded by
global ranking.
600% in a very short period of time, and it employs bureaucrats in buildings all over Washington, D.C. And as a former real estate person, I will tell you, I ride through the streets of Washington, and it says Department of Education, Department of Education. I said, how do you fill those buildings? It's crazy what's happened over the years. I'm pleased to report that after offering these federal employees 2 generous buyout options, and they were very generous, and they're good people, but they were very generous. My administration has initiated a reduction in force, and we're already cutting numbers that were really surprising to a lot that we were able to do it so successfully. And we've cut the number of bureaucrats in half. 50% have taken office, which is great. Thank you. Under the action I'm taking today, a small handful of Democrats and others that we have employed for a long time, and there are some Republicans, but not too many, I have to be honest with you. But the department's useful functions, and such as, and they're in charge of them, Pell Grants, Title I funding, resources for children with disabilities and special needs will be preserved, fully preserved. They're all going to be so. If you look at the Pell Grants, it's supposed to be a very good program, Title I funding, and resources for children with special disabilities and special needs. They're going to be preserved in full and redistributed to various other agencies and departments that will take very good care of them. And that's very important to Linda, I know, and it's very important to all of us. But beyond these core necessities, my administration will take all lawful steps to shut down the department. We're going to shut it down and shut it down as quickly as possible. It's doing us no good. We want to return our students to the states where just some of the governors here are so happy about this. They want education to come back to them, to come back to the states, and they're going to do a phenomenal job. You know, if you look, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, I have to tell you, I give them a lot of credit. China's top 10. And so we can't now say that bigness is making it impossible to educate, because China is very big. But you have countries that do a very good job in education. And I really believe, like some of the governors here today, from states that run very, very well, including a big state like Texas. But states that run very well are going to have education that will be as good as Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and those top, Finland, those top countries that do so well with education. I think they'll do every bit as well. And what do you think about that, Governor? Do you agree? I think so. Ron, do you agree? I think so. Florida? Iowa? That's right. I really believe that. They'll be as good as any of them. And then you'll have some laggards, and we'll work with them. And we can all tell you who the laggards will be right now, probably, but let's not get into that. But we'll work with them, and we're going to make them, they'll do a job. I think they'll do a job, and they'll go to sections of the state. For instance, New York, you'll have a Manhattan, and you'll have a Suffolk County, and you'll have Nassau County, and you'll have Westchester County. You'll do 4 or 5 or 6 of them. You have upstate New York, and those counties, I think, are going to do very well. And I think ultimately Manhattan should do very well. But we'll break it down into sections, and I think it'll be really, really good. And they're going to be probably the tougher ones, but I think they have a chance to do really well. But we're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs, and this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work. Absolutely, it's going to work. And it's going to work. I can tell you from dealing with the governors and others in the state, they want it so badly. They want to take their children back and really teach their children individually. Probably the cost will be half, and the education will be maybe many
half the cost, double the education.
We look forward to this.
Good deal.
I want to just make one little personal statement. Teachers, to me, are among the most important people in this country, and we're going to take care of our teachers. And I don't care if they're in the union.
Former Newmont executive to oversee mining. And amen. Shout out to teachers, baby.
And I believe
that's good.
I believe the states will take actually better care of them than they are taken care of right now. They'll work all sorts of systems and even merit systems. Those great teachers are going to be maybe a little bit better rewarded, or maybe that's the way it should be, but the states are going to make that decision. But we're going to love and cherish our teachers along with our children, and they're going to work with the parents, and they're going to work with everybody else, and it's going to be an amazing thing to watch, and it's really going to be something special. And Linda, you're presiding over something that's so important, and you're going to do a fantastic job, just like you have your whole life. I know your whole life I've been watching you. I've been watching you for a long time. She's had nothing but success. So it's tremendous to have you, and hopefully you won't be there too long, but we're going to find something else for you, Linda, okay? So this will conclude what we are talking about with respect to our most cherished group of people, and that's our children. We want to have our children well educated. We want them to love going to school. We have examples of it. Look at those beautiful, bright-eyed faces. They are so smart. They're so smart. And with that, I'm going to come down, and we're going to sign a very important document, and we're going to be on our way. People have wanted to do this for many, many years, for many, many decades. And I don't know, no president ever got around to doing it, but I'm getting around to doing it. So thank you very much.
Amen. Well, shout out to teachers. Oh, is this a school? We like they made like a classroom for the executive order. This is cute. This is a very performative executive order. I did not expect a prop set. I wonder what each kid, like, what they represent. I wonder if they have a story. Or is this just like, are they all signing it? What is happening? Paid actors. Give him goggles. He about to start throwing pens at the kids. He's like, I signed it first. I win. None of them beat me. I signed it first. There it is. I'm done. Turn it in. Look at that.
Can you come up just to say? Big factory.
I'm just reading the random YouTube comments. I'm so happy I banned all you guys. I'm glad I don't have to read that on my chat. Because I'm like, oh my gosh. After seeing that reaction. Oh man, that's crazy. Like tiny human of a man. This fucking Pikmin. This Nintendo Pikmin. Stand beside her and long Tom to the lows and the highs for 10 years, to the mountains and the prairies, to the lows filled with bream. God bless Charadonia, my home, sweet home. Okay. I'm sorry. I was feeling it. The Kelsey odds of Trump winning aren't moving. Quick, Robin Hood, go! Go, Robin Hood, it's your chance! More gambling for the youth. Give them what they need. This is your chance, Robin Hood. Democratize gambling next. That's what we need. First, they said gambling used to be for your New Jersey broker. Now it's for everybody. Now you don't need a bookie from Jersey to do all of your sports betting. We got you covered. Robin Hood. Democratizing gambling. You used to have to go to Vegas. You used to have to deal with a sketchy Drake website. Now you could manage your 401k and do a parlay on the side. Robin Hood. Democratize gambling. Amazing. Amazing. I love it. This is amazing. Wow. This is great. This is great. iBio, what's this? Impact Bio up 500%. This has to be a FDA. Well, Chatadonia, I love you. And God bless you in America. And shout out to the vets. What is this? They're just halted. They were supposed to do an offering. I don't know why. Oh no, lockup expiration. I don't know. Something's weird with that, but no news. It was good, man. Well, Chad, God bless America. Amen. Is WBD a good buy? I'm down on it. Okay, so you know to look for the names that I'm down on. That's good. You got that far. So what's the other rule? We actually just covered it yesterday. So on the names that I'm down on, there's kind of a limit. Where's that limit, boys and gals? Anybody have an idea? So, and then we got WBD for free. That was just a spin-off. Yeah, about 20-25%. So anything I'm down like 20-25%, I'm probably haven't bought in a long time. So I'm probably not going to. That's why I aim at the names I'm 20% and less on. I brought this up a couple of weeks ago or a month ago when people, because then I was telling everybody to buy good value, and then they're like, so I should buy Snapchat. I'm like, no, you shouldn't buy Snap. That's not. And they're like, but you're down on it. I'm like, I know, but I haven't bought it in 5 years. So then they're like, buy Coinbase. I'm like, no. I haven't bought that in 5 years either. And that's not what I mean. I'm like, so pretty much like the threshold I realized is like the names I'm down like 25% or more on. I haven't averaged on them. I usually don't. And then they're really small. But I think a good place to start that names that we're active on are like 20% and less. and that would be a good one to look at. So then that way you're not bottom feeding the portfolio and buying names that we're not really interested in. We may have bought them, a while ago, but obviously the portfolio is moved in a different direction, and we haven't held the same commitment. Oh yeah, where is Lennar? You're right. I don't know. But that was the other big one for the day. Might be in the morning, I think. Oh, man. Well, Chad, I love you. I'm going to see you guys tonight. I think we'll have a watch list. My voice is kind of fried, though. But I'm going to do leg day today. If I survive, I survive. And that's it. You want to watch it again? We'll watch it tonight. We'll watch the video. Okay? But I love you. God bless you. God bless America. If you really like Felo, go watch it after now. You have no excuse. But you need property. This is our liberty. You are important. Do you know that? I don't know who's told you this lately, but you're important. I know. And I don't know whose subtext told you you're not important or implied through worry or looking in every other direction, but you, my friend, are important. Okay? Life, liberty, my friends. You are the one. There's no system without you and your willful participation. It's amazing. God bless America, baby. On that note, Chad, go read the books. Richest Man in Babylon, Proverbs New Living Translation, and The Strangest Secret in the World. And don't forget why we're here. Why we keep going, why that faith, hope, and love ain't ever going out of style, why you don't want to be acting like you alive but really dead, why you don't want to be lukewarm, and that those who persevere with strength, my friends, even in weakness, why, baby, why? Finger to the sky, baby. To God be the glory, and to the grace of God alone. Amen. Amen. Woo! Chatadonia. Long term. Let's see the long. I haven't looked in a while. I think it was up and then down, but it sounds like progression. Log me in, Turbo. What? Oh, dude, we were up. Down 1,000. Oh, no. So where are we, 241? Yeah, we're going to be where we were the day before. Chopping around until the next deposit. And watch last night's watch list if you want to know about cash and other things. I did give some updates. What was it? So Uber was the best today. Alibaba was the worst. Oh, and Baidu. At Disney. Did Meta? Where's Meta? So Meta did go up a little bit. A little bit. The watch list, I either posted on this channel or the other channel. So if you go to this today, like the channel you're on right now, it's actually the video I posted, I think, before this. Go to videos or go to live, and then it says the watch list, actually. So if you actually scroll down on this channel, if there's ever a watch list, it will say the watch list. Isn't that amazing? I feel like it's easy to spot in a weird, odd way. I feel like it sticks out. I love this thumbnail. Don't you guys love this one? And he has no teeth. I think that is so artistic. On that note, Chad, I love you. God bless you. Have a wonderful one and peace. Yeah, Hey, why do I still do Biden? I don't want to wait for our Constitution to be over. Where is Hunter? He's in South Africa doing blow. I'm not going to lie, that was a good song. Biden could sing. He could sing, but he can't rule the country anymore. No, and you saw that I signed it faster than all of them. It's because the Department of Education is so slow. A 90-year-old could sign it faster than a child. We gotta fix that. Elon, Elon's going to teach them how to code. I don't even know if Elon can code, but he'll teach them. He'll figure it out. And from now on, anybody who looks at a Tesla the wrong way, you will get 20 years in prison. Minimum. Domestic terrorist. But seriously, why are you guys blowing them up? I thought you liked the environment. It's weird. It's kind of contradicting. Little weird. Little awkward. Anyways, have a good day. Goodbye. Exactly, Joshua. That's what I'm confused about. I'm just saying, first it was the environment and EV. Now you're lighting that electric vehicle on fire. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's good for the environment. No? Would you say it's okay? So okay then. If oil, let's say the oil industry, it's bad, right? Exactly. It's bad. Why is it bad? It hurts the environment. Is it because the processes that they use, does it cause, smoke and pollution, would you say? Exactly. So what happens when you light a battery on fire? Are you familiar? Have you been to China? You can ask them. Uh-oh. I reclaim my time. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.